No way! A Friday night stream where I boomered the beginning because I accidentally sent it off to my Twitch channel instead of my YouTube channel? That never happens here at The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. What are you guys talking about? This stream went off without a hitch. And because it went off without a hitch, I am now completely on time to say hello, everyone! Welcome to another Friday night and another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. I am, of course, your host, Spencer Bakuli. Some of you might know me as Mav. Some of you might know me as the editor-in-chief of Bounding into Comics, but if you're here, you obviously know me as the man who clearly, despite his relatively younger age, cannot get his tech setup going whatsoever. But aside from that, yes, guys, another episode. I'm happy to be here. If you're new to the show, if you're old to the show, you guys know that the setup of the show is I am here to talk with you guys, to kick your weekends off right with some fun, because as always, we spend the entire week just being hammered with negative news about all the things we love. So, let's take a moment before we have time to ourselves, before we can, easily take a break from the internet for, a couple days because it's the weekend or whatever. And, just have some fun. Remember the things we like and put positive spins on things. And also, don't worry, we are here to make fun of things. Obviously, if you guys caught the thumbnail tonight, the main topic of discussion will be the let me rephrase this. So, there's a lot to talk about tonight. I don't really have a specific central topic. As you guys know, normally on the show, I try to reserve airtime for more niche topics. I admittedly just want to say so obviously, Superman, we got the new David Corenswet suit released this week. I don't want to focus a whole lot on it because, that's Bounding into Comics material. That's 01 stream material. Check it out. Follow me over on Wednesdays over there if you want more of that. But there's just a couple things I want to say about it. Just drop it out there. And of course, I can't pass up two opportunities. One, can never pass up the opportunity to use a Jim Lee art piece in my thumbnails because Jim Lee is the man. And two, I'm not above it, guys. Obviously, putting Superman in the title of my stream is going to get it a little more, what you want to call it, algorithm play. So, we're going for a little bit of that. But aside from that, a lot happened this week. I had an alternate name for the title of this week's stream where it was The Death of Originality, because if you guys have been paying attention to any of the entertainment news that's been coming out of the West this week, or not even the West, the East as well, we have had just loss after loss after loss on the creative originality front. We'll get into it. We had the Microsoft Xbox shutterings and closures. We had some statements coming out of Disney Plus Japan. We had Bob Iger saying that, we're focusing on sequels now over original productions. So we might talk about that a little bit. Who knows what else? As always, this is a conversational show. I want to hear from you guys. If there's any topics you guys want to bring up, if there's anything on your mind, drop it. I mean, obviously, if you guys have been here for the past couple weeks, you know that the first hour of the show that's normally how it breaks down. So with that all said, yes, guys, welcome back. I'm happy to see y'all. It's been a week. But before we get into anything else, before we get into any real topics, let's say hello to the chat. I can obviously see that a bunch of you are already here. Oh, man, we had our first guest, of course, is my man, Andrew. Correct. This is the gay stream. This is the So Gay stream, the gayest stream on YouTube. Hey, I would like to note that my gay meter has reset. If you guys didn't know, I talked about it last week with my Xenoblade Chronicles playthrough, where everybody in Andrew's server, always calls me out for not playing it because I just don't have the time. I finally got around to playing it again on, what was that, Monday night? And so the clock is officially reset. We are only at T-minus 3 days now, as opposed to T-minus 2 weeks. Adam, if you're here, I definitely apologize. He just sent me a message where, because my stream went live over on Twitch for a second there at the very beginning, he thought I was playing Xenoblade, and unfortunately I am not. Sorry to disappoint you, buddy. Hopefully I will find some time this weekend to get back to it. I am... The last playthrough, if you guys were there, didn't get as far as I wanted because I actually think it was either Adam or Reeve was like, you better do the side quests, and you don't tell me that I need to do that because I will do everything. I will go through my log and make sure everything is complete before I go to the next area. We also have Bruce. Hey, man, I saw you on Twitter. You were saying you were going to check this out. Completely new viewer. Super happy to have you, man. I hope you have some fun here. Feel free to chime in. always welcome. Like, very happy to have you. You're always welcome. Tehillim is here saying, shalom and good to see you all. Might be a bit late as I plan to finish reading the Dragon Ball box set manga and getting a review of it for my channel. Yeah, no worries. Always a pleasure to see you, my man. I just got done, or I don't know if the video is done itself. I had to tap out a little early because I had to set this up. But I just watched your preview stream, your solicitation stream. Pretty cool that we're finally getting that USM Volume 1. I mean, I expect that thing to fly off the shelf like hotcakes. And depending on how the rest of the, at least like the first like 25 issues or so, or maybe like 12 issues of the book go, I think I might wait to get that on like a really nice omnibus. But yeah, finally some good things for people to spend their I don't even want to say that, actually. That made me hurt. I was going to say finally some good things for people to spend their hard-earned money on. And then I realized, like, oh, wait, our economy is absolutely in the toilet. Like, it is a dire out there, guys. I hate being an adult because, like, in the past, like, month, I finally had that first realization of, like, or not realization, but, like, I'm worrying about the economy. I'm worrying about purchasing power. I'm worrying about like, it sucks, right? Like, we're in obviously this is not a financial podcast. This is not a political podcast. It's not any of that. So we're not really going to talk, like, I won't harp on it, but man, it's hard out there. It is hard out there to buy anything, right? It's really disheartening. I saw Oh my god, how did I mute myself? When did I mute myself? That was dumb as shit. Oh my god. Yeah, that was completely on me because I am clearly boomering at this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whatever time it is here in Arizona. But no, yeah, I was just saying, economy sucks. McDonald's is trying to rectify it. Its owners don't want to, and it's just all a shit show right now. It's expensive to buy food. I don't know. I'm just here ranting at this point. Now I'm just that guy at the bar who had who had like 4 beers and now just doesn't want to pay his bar tab. You know what I mean? So, let's see. Now that I've got everything back and set up, popping out the chat because I didn't do that before. Let's see. We have Corey in the house. What is up, my man Corey? Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. We have Dante saying, "Hey, boss, how's it going, Dante? Good job on the articles that you dropped today." I think I still have one, or JB still has one to edit, but keep up the good work, mi amigo. We have Ravul. Hey, yo, always enjoy seeing my man Ravul. There's my fellow weeb. And then, yeah, everybody's talking about the Twitch thing. I accidentally went live on Twitch. Yada, 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 yada. No Xenoblade. I have our girl, SLC. She's here talking about the bum fluff on my face. No, this is my my red fire German warrior beard. I'm gonna go find Vinland. That's what I'm gonna do. But no, hey, first of all, incredible to see you. I know you've taken a break back from the internet, from like Twitch and stuff. So I hope you're doing okay. I thought I sent a message to you. I might not have, just checking up, but I hope you're good, girl. I'm glad to see you. Yeah, hit me up just let me know what's going on. Yeah, miss ya. I know, Andrew, it is in my thumbnail, but oh no, I mean, what more is there to say about than just some quick comic or just a quick commentary on his suit? Like, everybody's already broken it down. I just have like 1 or 2 things I want to say and get off my chest into the void. That's why I have this show. So don't worry, we will talk a little Kryptonianness in a couple days or in a couple minutes. Ravul Arvita says Gundam making bank. Yes. Oh, I mean, Bandai released their their merchandise sales report today, and yeah, Gundam is making bank. But I want to make something even more clear. This is awesome. It is Toku's time to shine for the first time in a long time. Kamen Rider, Ultraman, and Sentai topped all of the like. It beat Dragon Ball. It beat Gundam. Like, it's crazy. Toku is having its time, and I'm so stoked for it. Oh, that reminds me, you guys, I know I brought this up on the stream a couple times before, but when it comes to Tokusatsu, obviously it's getting more popular in the West. We're getting more official releases. There have been a lot of Kamen Rider releases, and I'm collecting them all, but the problem with Kamen Rider releases is that every series, every movie, every whatever is licensed by a different company. So I've got Shout Factory, I've got Discotech, I've got one of them, I completely forget who it is. It's like a random one. And then, so like that bothers me because it's like, where's the consistency? How do I collect them all? What are we all doing here? But then they announced this week that they're doing a release of like 4 Showa era movies and a really rare special on a Blu-ray for the first time in America, yada, 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 yada. And I'm like, I'm in. Hit me up. It's from Media Blasters. And I'm just like, stop. Can we all just get together and get like a Toku publishing label or something? Because this is absolutely insane. To that end, I bring that up as a side note. Has anybody here purchased anything from Media Blasters? I don't think there's anything in my collection that is Media Blasters, so I don't know anything about the quality of their releases. If they're good, let me know, because I've already got that thing on pre-order. But if it's going to be awful, I will wait for Shout Factory or somebody to get their hands on it. You know what I mean? Hey, there we go. There's Timon saying, what is up? Saying, hey, everybody. Hey, Timon, how is it going? Corey says, Bruce is a regular in the Fellowship 199 chats. Oh, that's awesome. Hey, even better. Welcome aboard then, Bruce. Glad to be able to provide another port in this crazy storm sphere that we call the alternative entertainment economy. I don't know what you want to call us. We're not like alternative entertainment, but the yeah, I guess like the Fellowship, the boundingness, the Hollywood is stupid bent. Yeah, welcome aboard. Let's see. And now, yeah, everybody, yeah, muted. Not, okay, see, I know Reeve is right that it was just for like a minute or so, not 10 minutes, you son of a bastard. Andrew trying to freak me out over here. Let's see. Andrew says, all 4 beers is going to do is make me pee. What? Dude, when I get 4 beers in me or whatever, that's when I start going on like Amazon and I'm like, okay, I could afford to buy this booster pack or this starter deck. Okay, I can afford to spend some money on this omnibus. Or why not? You deserve it. And then I wake up and I'm like, yeah, that was probably not the smartest idea. She says, or S says, you don't care about me. You didn't message me. Unlike you, I actually replied to you, fool. Hey, 1, I actually replied to you, 2. 2, I said I thought I messaged you. I am very, very bad about getting back to people. Like, ask anybody in the chat, obviously, as you know that. Ask anybody we know in real life. Ask anybody on the bounding staff. Like, I have just to juggle so much going on that, I'll read a message and have to take care of this and that I just get sidetracked. But in my head, it's like, oh, yeah, I totally, replied to Andrew. I totally replied to Corey, whatever. So, again, I give this warning to everybody I know, friends, family, my employees, all that. If you don't hear from me after a message, feel free to bother me. Be like, yo, where the hell are you? Tag my ass. Send me more messages. Because you're not annoying me. The honest truth is that I probably just blanked on replying to you. like that is just the honest to God truth. I'm trying to get better at it, but I'm just a man. No, but really, I'm trying to get better, but that's where we are right now. So no, I do care. How dare you tarnish my name, S? Let's see. Timon says, we're having the worst flood in 50 years, mostly in the state next to mine. My family and friends there are okay so far, and the federal government keep effing up. Well, first of all, stay safe. That's insane. I can't even imagine the worst flood in 50 years. That's really bad. Yeah, stay safe, Timon. I hope all your family is safe, especially your nephew, who I know because we know he loves Dragon Ball. Yeah, but to that end, like, stay safe. But I'm also not surprised the government is messing up. I mean, does anybody rely on it? Why rely on the government for anything nowadays? I can't even imagine the awful disaster response that's going on in Brazil right now, right? Like, I'm sure we're going to get just headline after headline about like communication failures and what do you call it? Like inventory infrastructure failures. Like I can only imagine how awful it is down there right now. So stay safe, my friend. If you need anything that we can, or I'm not going to speak for the chat or this, I can speak for the show and say we, because I'm the only one here. But if there's anything we can do to help from our position up here, obviously let us know. At the very least, I can take your mind off of it for the next 2 hours or so, right? Like, that's what I'm here for. Let's see. Flex says, first of all, Flex, my boy, what is up? He says, Dragon Ball Daima equals low-key GT reboot. I don't know. Obviously, it's taking a lot for those who don't know what he's talking about Dragon Ball Daima, the upcoming anime where they all get sort of reverted into kids. I still don't know what to make of that project, because we still don't know, is it a, like where does it fall? There's just so many questions about that if I were to make a bet right now on like what sort of project Daima is, I'm kind of feeling that it's just essentially a well-produced filler arc, right? Like with better animation and all that stuff. But I have no idea if it's a GT reboot. The only reason that I want it to be some sort of GT reboot, and I know this will piss off like Andrew and like 3 other viewers of the stream, is that I need more Super Saiyan 4 in my life. I'm not okay with Super Saiyan 4 being relegated only to Super Dragon Ball Heroes at this point, right? Canonize that, bring it in. I want it. I don't care. Maybe redesign Vegeta a little bit, because the elastic like teal gene or like painted on jeans is not exactly the hottest look of 2024, right? But Goku's Super Saiyan 4 design, top tier of all time. I'll get him again, because I always have him. He's always right here. Boom. Best design. My Figure Arts. He's ready to go. I had to like unpose him the other day because I was trying. Up until like yesterday, he was doing the like hero carry pose on another one of my Figure Arts, because I was trying to draw something and I needed references. Let's see. Reeve is here. Yeah, we saw him earlier. He's saying Timon is here. Where is Pumbaa? You can find out the answer to where Pumbaa is in theaters in May with the Lion King, or with Mufasa, the Lion King story. Only in theaters this May from Disney. I still can't believe that is an actual movie that's getting made. Condolences to all the parents who were going to have to take their kids to see it because they either want to or because there's nothing else to do, like to take them to see in theaters. So, yikes. Let's see. Andrew says, LOL, 4 beers is nothing, not even 4 double IPAs. I mean, I am an IPA drinker too, but that's the 4 beers is when it is nothing, but that's also when it's like, okay, now I can allow myself to go, make these or not bad, but these unwise purchases to add to my collection. And then Andrew says, you live in Arizona, Mav. You can't imagine a flood, period. 1, you're right. But 2, I also lived in California for a while. So when it rains there, like especially out in LA, there were spots of flooding. I've never been in like a massive flood. Like I have no idea what Timon is facing right now, admittedly. But I've seen water accumulate and move. Yeah. See, Andrew says it's not a reboot for Daima. They're just taking themes and concepts from GT. Yeah, I don't think it's a reboot either, because it's still a continuation. It's still technically canon from Super. There's literally no details about it. We know that they're going to be kids. I'm stoked to see Goku with the power pole, but we've gotten really nothing about it outside of that first trailer. So everything at this point is like, guess away, because anything could be valid, right? Okay, Andrew says, why would that piss me off? Super Saiyan 4 is the single best form in the franchise. Who is it that somebody we regularly talk to, or I regularly talk to, hates Super Saiyan? Oh, That's who it is. Okay, you know who hates Super Saiyan 4? It is my editor, my associate editor. It is Josh over at Bounding Into Comics. He's the one who absolutely hates 4 for some reason. So and since I'm like a fan, I always make it a point to like bring it up and be like, dude, isn't this like the best form ever? Just to annoy him. Let's see. Shinkai says Super Saiyan Furry is the best. Goku always more fun with his tail. I think so too. Like, I genuinely love, younger Goku, older Goku. I think though, like, you don't really, what am I trying to say here? The awesomeness and the fun of those times when Goku does have his tail is only made possible by the fact that he loses it for so much of the series, right? And that it becomes such a non-focus for him. I think, like, it played out its time well in Dragon Ball. They kind of got to the end of the concept of his tail and the monkey and the Uzuru and all that stuff. Took it off. Then they had him regular Goku, fight. And then you gave it back to him back in GT when it's like, oh, he hasn't had it for a long time. And he has these new, like, transformations that he can use with it and all this other stuff. So I think, like, you need to have that period where Goku loses it for it to be all awesome. But I'm right there with you, Shinkai. Like, I love tailed Goku at all times. Like, at all times. I just like tailed Saiyans. Like, I love Vegeta's appearance when he first lands on Earth because he has, like, the longer shoulder pads, right? But he also has his tail wrapped as, like, the belt around his waist. I always thought that was, like, just a pretty cool look. And, yeah, like, I am bummed that they dropped it in Z pretty fast. But, again, they kind of ran to the end of the concept after Piccolo destroyed the moon. Piccolo destroys the moon. You really can't come back from that one. Let's see. Flex says Dragon Ball Super Divers is the hot new card game now. Rip Heroes. Is there really a new, like, what do you even call those kind of like battle card games? Because, like, again, guys, like, we've talked about this before on the show, but there are, like, trading card games, which is like your Magic the Gathering, your One Piece, your Dragon Ball Fusion World, like the stuff I play, right? And I talk about on stream all the time. But then there's like these games in Japan specifically where, like, you get cards and you go to the machine and you put it on and you, like, physically move them and play and battle, and then your card, like, your card essentially saves your data, right? Like, that's your profile. So then you go, oh, I just fought with my Great Saiyaman. He gained 5 levels. Cool. And you take him off, and then when you come back next time, he has those 5 levels, and you just keep on boosting on and boosting on. I didn't know they made a new one. I was just wondering, like, Dragon Ball Heroes was the one I knew. Let me, I feel like Flex might even be messing with me. Let's see. It literally got announced, like, oh, wow, it got announced, like, yesterday. So, no, he is not messing with me. Yeah, we are definitely, let's see here. I mean, there's not really a lot to watch. I can at least just throw on the trailer, I guess, but yeah, it's really, really not. I'm really just bringing it up for the visual. Where is my window? Oh, the music's coming through, but I didn't switch over yet because we were working on things. So, like, literally this got announced yesterday. That's crazy. I mean, I'm still upset because, like, it doesn't really matter because we're never going to get this in America because I don't know. I don't know why these don't come to America, but part of me has a sneaking suspicion that it's because we would just absolutely trash the cabinet. And also, we don't have a big arcade culture like they do in Japan. This thing, I guarantee. So check this out. Let's go back to the machine real quick. So, there was a full shot. There it is. So, this damn thing. Whatever. I'm just gonna use. Here, we're gonna look at that picture. There it is. There. So, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, like this. I think the reason we don't get these is because we just don't have the culture or the locations to make it profitable. And I say this because the other weekend I went out for a friend's birthday and we went to a bar. And at the bar they had this really, really cool, really brand new Venom pinball machine, like the Marvel character. And I know it's brand new, or at least relatively brand new, because the entire gimmick of the table is like you pick a symbiote, and you know, picking a symbiote gives you special bonuses like extra balls or points or whatever, and you fight back against like Carnage and what, like the maximum Carnage offsprings like Screech and Shriek and all of them. Or no, Shriek is what I meant. So it's a really cool game, and the reason I know it's recent is because when you go to select your character, it's got like Peter, Eddie, Flash, and Gwen in her in her Venom Gwenom costume. So I'm like, it's got to have been made in the last like 4 or 5 years. It's limited edition according to like the what do you call it? The cabinet, like it had a little sign on it. I went to go look it up. And that pinball game, if I wanted to buy it myself, is at least like $7,000 to $10,000, depending on what condition I get it in, right? So $7,000 to $10,000 on a pinball machine, it might take a while, but you could probably make that money back if you have an establishment, because it's pinball. Who isn't going to throw in a buck or two while they're drunk or whatever and play a match? With this, like, you would have to have very specific audiences coming into very specific locations with very specific limited items. Because remember, guys, Bandai is asshole about printing like their product in other territories. Don't even get me started on like the One Piece card game, the Dragon Ball card game, all that stuff. I could have an entire hour-long stream where I just bitched about that, like how they do not support other territories. So I think that's why we're not getting it. But it is a bummer, because I really, really would love to play something like this. And, you know, Dragon Ball isn't the only franchise that has games like this. They're one of the earliest ones, and this obviously speaks to, like, me personally, but it's by Sega. They have a beetle fighting. So in Japan, a fun, or like a big pastime is beetle fighting, where you take like 2 beetles, put them on like a circle log or a circle arena, and let them fight. And it's basically like wrestling. They'll pick each other up, they'll throw each other, you know, they'll push each other out, yada yada yada. It's fun. It's an innocent little pastime. Sega made a game based on that, and then early on, like years ago, they made a cabinet where you played it yourself. So like these can be used by different franchises. It's just a super bummer that we are likely never going to get anything close to this, because I would probably spend absolutely so much money doing this. Like I would be that guy who's like, oh, I've got, 30 minutes on my lunch break. Let me run over to the arcade, do a match or two, and then come back. Like, I can easily see myself doing that. And it's just a shame, because where would we put these in, right? Like a Dave and Buster's? No, not really, because that's not really somewhere you want to like go in and like bring stuff into. And it's also like, and then there are no arcades really that exist anymore. The family fun centers and stuff, like those are going out the way. I know that there are a couple round ones are opening in America. We just got one out in Arizona. It's like an hour and a half away from my house, but that's like the only location I can think of that you could throw it into. It is a giant bummer because let's see who said it there. Yeah, and Andrew said it. It shows a lack of the value for the things we have. And yeah, first of all, Cider, what's up, my man? Shout out to Cider, killing it over at the Bounding video channel. Go check out everything that's going on the Bounding YouTube channel, aside from like when I host the 01 stream. That's all Cider. He is absolutely killing it. Like, I don't know. I always love shouting out Cider. But yeah, Cider points it out. We'll bust this so bad. First kid that loses will smash the card reader deck. Oh, first kid that loses smashes the card reader deck. The second you drop this in honestly, like any city environment, it's going to get vandalized by shitheads in an hour and a half. Like, that is one of the big fundamental differences between Japan and America, right? And I know Cider knows this because Cider is he knows Japanese culture. He studies it. He actively follows it. He knows what's going on, like, on the ground. But oftentimes, you see a lot on social media where it's like, oh man, why can't America ever be like Japan? This is just proof that Japan is so much superior to us. We should have a culture like Japan. They're so clean, they're so organized, they're so polite. And it's like, the problem, and I say this as an American, is that Americans don't have that level of self-discipline or respect for like other people's things, right? Like, and that's not attacking like a certain demographic or all of us. Like, we see people just like, oh no, I can do whatever I want, whether you're on the left or on the right, whether you're young or old. And so many people are like, why do I care about you if I'm not getting mine? And so why would they give a crap if your machine gets busted? If that's not the machine they're playing on, they're not the one paying for it. Like, it's just, there are those, like, what do you call it? Like, just that difference, that discrepancy in cultures that will never, ever allow things like this to happen. Like, for example, in Japan, and this is a very, very basic example. Again, I am not claiming to be some over like authority on it. If you want to know a lot more, go talk to Cider or just like go to Japan in general, right? In Japan, if you litter or if you, like, let's say you're walking down the street and you go to throw something away and it misses, right? Like, the wind took it, you made a wrong calculation when you threw it, whatever it is, right? And so your piece of trash happens to fall out on the floor. If a Japanese person notices that, they are going to scramble and be like, oh, that is my responsibility. I need to take care of do my part for everybody here for this environment. So they'll go and they'll pick it up. If they don't, and and they keep walking or they ignore it, not only will everybody around them probably be like, dude, what is like this asshole? But somebody else will likely, unless it's like, something rolls out into the street or it's absolutely super disgusting, somebody will pick up a paper bag. Somebody will pick up a cup that falls out and they'll throw it away themselves. In America, that's not happening. If you most people will miss throwing away their trash and just leave it. If you, I mean, 9 times out of 10, and I'm even guilty of this as well, right? Like, I see somebody miss with their trash, I just kind of let it go. I don't know why. It's just my reflex is like, okay, that's their thing. That's their responsibility, not our responsibility. And so, like, our individualism in America is great, and that's what makes us what we are and why we're such a dominant force in culture and everything else. But that is sort of one of the side effects that we have to endure as Americans, is that we will never get cool stuff that is based on like public trust and safety. Yeah, exactly. Cider brings it up. First graders in Japan cook their own lunches with an open flame and knives. They use chemicals to clean their classrooms and the dishes after meals. You have to start them young. Oh, absolutely, Cider. I don't know if you've seen this show, Cider, or if anybody else here has, but there's a show that it's from Japan. It is on Netflix if you want to go check it out. It's called oh my God, hold, I got to get the name of the show. Because if you guys want to, yeah, Old Enough. Okay. So the show was called Old Enough. And in Japan, there is this tradition that when you believe your child is old enough, right? When he is, he could be 1, he could be 5, he could be 6, she could be 2, whatever. It's parents choose. But when a parent feels they're old enough, they will give their child their first like chore task to do completely on their own. And, it'll be like, hey, little Spencer Jr., can you go to the store and get us milk for dinner, ice cream for dessert, and then go across the street and pick up these flowers from the floral shop and then come back and do it. And they're supposed to go out and do it on their own. Sometimes, if you're lucky enough to be in a community that is really close knit, they'll, play along sort of like it's like a theme park attraction. They'll be like, oh, and they'll like guide them along and watch them. Other times they will, if you don't have that community, they'll just go. They'll be like, go take care of the chore and I'll be here waiting for you. And it's like that level of responsibility of teaching kids to take care of themselves while also doing something for other people and learning how to interact with the world like in that way is just, it's so different than what we teach here that there's never, ever, ever, ever going to be like like, it's just like Sider said. Like, now I'm just looping back to what Sider said, which is you got to start them young. If you're not ingratiating your kids into this young, it's going to be, they're going to grow up, you know, like I did, where it's like, well, I don't want to do my chores. I don't want to do that. Why do I want to help? So it's just a shame. I wish we would get more things like this. Somebody said something here. Yeah. Flex says, I fully expect Japan to have Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual stadiums with holographic projectors in the near future. I imagine that technology is got to be coming to their arcades pretty soon, right? Like, remember in Yu-Gi-Oh! That was what the main stations, they were just like air hockey table sized spaces that you put your cards on and they come to life. And so, yeah, I got to imagine they're coming. They can't be far off. But again, that's something we will never get over here because remember, okay, best example. Do you guys remember the robot from, or like, years ago, a tech company designed a robot that was just supposed to, like, they wanted it to see how far it could go. It was on wheels. They were trying to get it to go from like California to New York or vice versa. And the idea was, you know, let it go, let it roam. It has like a hitchhiking sign on it. If you want to pick it up, you could pick it up and then leave it wherever and let it go on its journey. And it was supposed to be this big collective sort of like, you know, pass it on sort of endeavor. It took like 2 days. In 2 days, the robot was like trashed, beaten up, broken, and thrown on the side of the road. Like that is unfortunately just the reality of the cultural differences, which is a shame, but there we go. Andrew says he's been there, went there my senior year of high school. I'm presuming Japan. Yeah, I've been to Japan too. I went there like after college, like a year or two after college. I spent like a week or two out there. I love it out there. Like, but that, you know, I am realistic about it. I go out there and I love it there. I love their culture. I love their respectfulness. I love everything about how their cities operate or whatever. But I also recognize like that is something that is, you have to work for. Like that is not something that in America we could just up tomorrow say, hey, everybody, pick up your trash. Like just everybody be a good neighbor, pick up your trash, because you're going to get like I think about this all the time. In America, we don't react to things. We overreact. That's like our national pastime. The second national pastime after baseball is overreacting to everything, right? So, oh no, I don't even, oh yeah. So, you know, the second somebody in any sort of official capacity, a governor, a social media person, a celebrity, whatever, the second somebody comes out and says like, hey, we should all, you know, do our part and like, let's try to make this better for everyone, and everyone just pick up trash. Like if you see a piece of trash, do your part today and pick up one piece. You would get people from the left and the right going, or like on the right, it's, well, why do I have to be responsible for them? This is, you know, freedom, individuality. There's, you know, that's not my responsibility. I shouldn't have to take care of you. Pardon me. And then on the left, you would have people going, oh, I don't want to do this. This is, I don't know, throw in any buzzword nowadays. That's the problem with political discourse these days. It's very easy to know where like conservative, like right-wingers are coming from because they very clearly lay out their position. So I know what they're arguing from. With liberals, it's just like buzzword salad. They're arguing for the sake of arguing, essentially. I mean, that's not what they think they're doing, but they don't ever produce, like, their rhetoric is never anything productive or insightful, so it doesn't ever help anything. So that's just like the unfortunate reality that we would never, ever get this sort of widespread culture here in America. You could probably do like a neighborhood, probably, like, you know, if your own local community, you could probably get something going like that, but just on a widespread scale, unless we started like today, and then the results wouldn't even materialize for at least like 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, if that. So we're talking 100 years at least. So it would be a lot of work. Yeah, Reeve says Japanese kids walk to school without their parents, which is, yeah, kind of like what I was getting back to with that chores thing, right? In America, even the most like I would deign to say, even the most liberal person on this planet doesn't feel great letting their child, you know, walk out on their own in America, especially at as young of an age as like 5 or 6. And I don't mean just like walking down the corner to the store or no, let me rephrase that. I mean, like, you know, we know there's crime, we know there's violence, we know there's all this stuff going on. And it's just like, even if you're the most liberal, forgive everyone, everyone's just misunderstood, you would have an uneasy feeling like, okay, there goes my kid. I really hope he's gonna come back. Like, I really hope nothing happens to him. Put a tracker on him. Like, that's where the thought goes. But in Japan, the thought is instead like, I hope he's okay. But it's more like, I don't want him to fail. I don't want him to like hurt himself. It's less of a fear of like an external person hurting them, so much as like a happenstance, like an act of God, like tripping or what the fuck ever. You guys know what I mean. I have no specific examples, but you know what I mean. Timon says they do that in China too, where they let their kids go do chores when they're young. The only difference is that the chore is a 9 to 5 making stuff for the West. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's no argument against that. A plus. If I gotta, there is blah, blah, blah. I am working on a revamp of the stream setup. It's not going to change dramatically. There's just going to be like a couple of feature implementations and all that stuff. But one of the things I need to do is be able to highlight comments, because I would absolutely be leaving that one up there for like 90% of the stream. Let's see. Reeve says, there was a Japanese student I met during college, and he tried to talk me out of going to Japan as an English teacher. He was very snobbish. So, there are 2 points I want to address with that, Reeve. One, that, like, I think it's always cool when somebody goes to Japan as an English teacher. Like, I wanted to do that for a little bit. I have a really good friend. She went out and she did that, like, right out of college. I was actually, here's another fun trivia dive into the world of Mav. In 2019, I got dumped by my then long-term girlfriend of like 4 or 5 years. And we had moved in together. We kind of, were planning on marrying and all this stuff. And long story short, it all sort of crumbled. But so that happened in like October 2019. So I'm sitting there in November and December with my life in shambles. And I'm going like, what do I do? Like, what do I want to do with myself now? Like, I'm lost. And I had this idea I was talking to my mom, and all of a sudden I was like, why don't I go do that again? There's no limit on like how old you have to be. I should just go do that. So I started looking into it, and I was getting ready to apply and take all the examinations. COVID hits, shuts down everything, put an end to that, which I guess is okay. Like, because here I am now. Now I'm here every Friday hanging out with you folks, but still would have been a pretty cool experiences. But on the other hand, the other point I wanted to address was he was very snobbish. You will, like, I say this as someone who comes from an Asian culture, who has had lots of experience with Asian culture, both the good, the bad, the Mav, and the ugly, right? Asians are the most, like, prideful, up their own butt-iss, like, peoples ever. Whether that's Filipinos, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, Vietnamese, Thai, like, everybody thinks they are the absolute hottest shit, and they don't want, like, anybody really coming in and usurping them or running roughshod over their culture. So I do know a lot of Asian people who, like, oh, I want to, go do this, I want to go do that, and it's just like, I don't know if it's essentially like, I don't know if you're up to our standards. It's like, stay out of the way. And so that is just something I have no like consolation prize for you. I've got no advice back to you, Reeve. It's just like, I know, I hear that, and I can pretty much validate the thing. I said the thing, I said the name. Which thing and name did I say? Wolf says, Andrew says, you misspell your headlines, Mav. You've no business being an English teacher. Excuse you. I only misspell them like 2 out of 10 times. All right. And that's because I'm typing very, 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 very fast, but at least I correct them as soon as I catch them. Oh, right. Yes. My show title. I did. I blanked on that. You're right, Cider. I'm so bad at synergy. I am not Disney. I don't know how to make everything align. And then, yeah, Andrew says, life size my Valentine, please, K, thanks, bye. I mean, they've already got Miku with the Miku hologram that is disappointingly not being shown around America right now. Like, we're getting there. And then there's like there's that guy in Japan who married like a Miku, whatchamacallit, like a hologram display thing. Like, it's not even technically really Miku. It's so weird, but it's legal. They let him do it. So just give it time. We will get our digital anime waifus faster than you can possibly imagine. And then Reeve says there were a couple of Korean students I knew well, and they were really nice. Yeah, I mean, they are nice. Asians are nice, and they are polite, and they are really, like, they can be a lot of fun. But it's once you start getting into like cultural discussions and like status discussions and stuff, at least like, what's the right term there? Like immigrant or what, like native Koreans, and then like first generation Koreans. Like, those are the ones who will put up those sort of not facades, but like will do the, one face in public, one face in private type of thing. And then it is the, second generations and so on and so forth, who are less like that, who are just obviously more American, because that is where we are. So let's see. And then, yeah, Zero says Cardass would never work in the US. We're not social creatures, not anymore. I mean, I genuinely think something like this could work in the US. The problem is nobody over here wants to invest in anything that could be possibly seen as some sort of a financial risk. And so in terms of like the Cardass systems, that's everybody from the machine manufacturers to the distributors at Bandai who have to sell it to locations, to the stores and stuff that would end up purchasing these things. Without any sort of like real support behind them from like executives and all that, these things would fail. Because I could see, to me, if I were, you're talking to me right now, we're playing with the cards as they have fallen. We're just, we're not going too fantasy. Let's see what we can do with what we've got. So if I were to, try and bring the Cardass system into America, I'm putting it in comic book stores. I'm putting it in movie theaters, probably, right? Like with all those other arcade games. I'm putting it in maybe just a general mall setting, not in like a mall arcade, but just have one of the machines at malls, because you just got to make it accessible and then let people know that these things exist. Again, the Cardass system can be played by kids. So if you let kids know that there are these locations that they can go to, that they can all hit, you're going to get a lot of business. It's going to be a lot of good word of mouth. I mean, I remember being a kid, right? And I can imagine that the prospect of going out with my parents and, we're going to go get lunch, we're going to go see your grandma, whatever, like, oh, boring, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but Mom, we're going close to that place with the Cardass machine. Can we make a stop at, Walmart, like where it is, and play a game really quick? Like, perfect, boom, done. You've got another sale or whatever. You've got a play. It's just, yeah, like, I just feel like the machines are too expensive for anybody to go, I will take a risk on that, especially in the sense of comic book stores, because the comic book stores, they are like, they don't have money. We know this, despite what Marvel president Dan Buckley said earlier this week. Stores are not in like the best position right now. They're not pulling in as much money as they should. So investing in, again, let's be hyper conservative, and we're just going off of, that pinball machine I was talking about earlier. Let's say at the very least we got hyper lucky. This is a $7,000 machine. Again, even saying that, I know I'm wrong, but I'm just using that for the sake of argument, because that kind of just shows how insane of a position we're all in. $7,000 machine, a comic book store can't really risk just a random investment on that unless they knew they had support coming from Bandai, from Toei, from I don't know, whatever other companies you want to throw in that have branding with them, right? Like, it would be too, like, if you came to me and you were like, would you like to put this in your store? And I'm like, maybe. How's Bandai going to support it? And everybody goes, like they normally do. Well, that's shit. I don't know how many of you guys play any Bandai card games, you know, Dragon Ball Masters, Fusion World, or One Piece, or Digimon. I play all of them except Digimon. And I can tell you, you know, I alluded to it earlier in the show. I've brought it up a couple times before when I've been talking card games. But Bandai, they have no support for their product, right? Like, they do not advertise it. They do not send out, they do not print enough stuff, and then in turn do not send out enough stuff to stores to sell. Like, for example, check this out. Today was the release day for a new set for Dragon Ball Fusion World. Nobody, and or across the states and everything, starting today, there is an official Bandai tournament series for the game, you know, and so essentially stores link up with them and they say, hey, can we play or whatever? And Bandai sends them product and it's all official. It gets you in the running for all of that fun stuff. Or like it gets you in the running for like nationals. It puts you in the circuit, yada, 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 yada. Normally these stores are supposed to get product as well. They're supposed to get starter decks. They're supposed to get booster boxes, yada, yada. I called around today. Nobody's gotten them yet. Some of these stores aren't getting their products until like 2 weeks from now. Like it is a very, very dire state. Put it this way. When a One Piece card game set releases, like even when they announce a new one is coming up, people already, like distributors already start retailing what should be a $60, $70 MSRP booster box for $300. Because we know that they are not printing anything. This is the fucking state of Bandai Namco support. So it's just, I wouldn't want to rush out with that, or let me rephrase that, with that little of like actual support behind me from Bandai, I wouldn't want to invest in this either. So I wish it's going to take somebody taking a risk and saying, let's give this a shot for anything to come of this. But as we will get into in the show, like that's not what's happening in the economy or in the culture anymore, in the entertainment culture anymore. Like we are in a very, very bad state where nobody wants to take any risks on anything that isn't an immediate guaranteed $500 million like win, whether it's a movie, a show, a video game, so on and so forth. We'll get to that like probably right now, but there's one thing I wanted to address from the chat, and that would be, or I guess two things. One, Zero says, come to think of it, DBZ Kakarot has a card-ass style minigame. They do, and it's actually kind of fun. It's just unfortunate that, like, that is a system we don't understand over here in America. Like, I remember opening that up and being like, this is cool. I've seen these cards forever. I don't know what the fuck they do. I don't know how the fuck to play this minigame. We're just going to, I'm going to go fight Raditz's revived body for like the 900th time. That's what I'm going to go do. But yeah, like the card-ass stuff has existed forever, for as long as I can remember. And it's just such a shame that we will never get any of that stuff over here. It's just one of those things. Maybe, again, in 100 years, right? Like Cider can start teaching his kids how to behave, and everybody can start teaching their kids to behave. And maybe in 150 years, we'll open up our very first card-ass sales place in LA or something. But until such time, it's just, we're all SOL. But the other point I wanted to address was Ravul says, one, anyone play Gundam Cross War? I did not. I wanted to. Again, that's another one of those things where you see it, you're interested, you want to put it on your backlog, you want to get into it, and then just time passes you by. But then, as for your other comment, Australia has a large Dragon Ball trading card game community. They do, and I know this because I'm involved in the scene and the tournaments and all that, and the metas and yada, yada, yada. am involved in that community, the core TCG community, which is their main place down there in Australia. So I am in the Discord. I watch their streams all the time. I know that a lot of the top players are from Australia. I don't know why that is. I think it's really cool. Don't get me wrong. I have no idea why Australia is so gung-ho about the Dragon Ball card game. But, you know, it's sort of like, those are my peoples. Do I need to go fly to Australia to go hang out with them to finally find other people who play trading, like the Dragon Ball card game? And if I do, hey, I will go see... if I ever... Let's put it this way. If I ever end up in your city for pleasure, for leisure... Like you know, I'm talking to you personally, my viewers. If I'm in your city, I will buy you a beer. Like, let's hang out. Let's do this. Like, if I go to Australia to go play Dragon Ball, I'm definitely hitting up Ravul. I'm definitely hitting up like YouTube me over from Bounding into Comics, and I'm saying, let's do this. Like let's hang out. Let's bring the community part back to community. But so, let's see. Just one second. Let's switch back to my face. I just want to bring up one thing, or I just need to bring up graphics before I talk about the next thing. Or graphics, visuals, whatever the hell you guys want to, whatever you guys want to call it. Okay, so this week we got, so, you know, I was a couple minutes ago, I was sort of, yes, that is exactly what I was humming, Andrew. It was 100% the Jurassic Park theme. That is my idol tune, is the Jurassic Park theme. Like, if I just sit there and I blink out, or if my brain shudders, that's what's going through my head. Because I don't know if you remember, but there was, back in the before times, there was this website called You're the Man Now Dog, which was a very proto meme type site. You literally you put an image, you put a sound, and it has like a giant block of text. It was really stupid. It's really hard to explain if you weren't there in that moment. I mean, try explaining memes to everybody. Cider says if he blanks out, he hears the screams of the damned. That's one. That's why I smoke, and two, that's why I have the Jurassic Park theme. You got to keep that drowning out. Oh, no, yeah, that Panic at the Disco. I think that is a Panic at the Disco song, right, Cider? I just hear the screams of the damned featuring Patrick Stump of Fall Out Boy. But, yeah, but on You're the Man Now Dog, there was this really... Oh, it's still online, Flex? Holy shit. Flex knows what I'm talking about, because I know Flex and I would share these back in the day when we were like kids. But there was a one of them where somebody just parodied the Jurassic Park theme, and it was like, oh my fucking God, fucking dinosaur, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Oh my fucking God, fucking dinosaur. And like when I was a teenager, I thought that was the funniest thing, and it's just been stuck in my head ever since. If I blank, if I'm not listening to that Panic of the Disco song or the Jurassic Park theme, it's just an F1 car on loop going, meow. Neom, 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 neom. Let's see. Card-ass sales place, 555 Lolita Highway, located in loosely Mexican-sounding town name somewhere outside of the hottest English-speaking tract of land on Earth. Perfect. That's exactly where you want to play it, right? Where absolutely nobody can get access to it. Flex says, Western markets just aren't as excited about the card-ass stuff. We'll eat up Sparking Zero, though. We're still feasting on Kakarot fighters and both Xenoverses, too. Correct. Like, you're not wrong. We do have a lot of stuff. The West still does enjoy its Dragon Ball stuff. The West still does get a lot of good releases. It's just, like, the fact that they don't support card-ass is, again, just a symptom of the fact that they never really invested in it, and so it never took off. Because, again, we've never had a card-ass game here. We've never had actual support. We've had, like, import booster packs sold for card-ass games, but never a machine to go use them on. I think I've seen one machine in America my entire life, and that was at, like, it was at Anime Expo, and somebody was just showing off the technology, right? Like, oh, hey, yeah, it was a booth draw, essentially. He's like, hey, come look at what this does. Come see how Dragon Ball could be. let's see. Andrew says that when he idles, he goes to the Andy Griffith theme and Hedwig's theme. Those are, you know, the... Yeah, that's a good one, too. I occasionally get that one. And then Shinkai says, my head is just an anime, cartoon, video game radio when I idle. That or comes with bonkers what-if situations. Oh, yeah, just letting your head run with like, oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? And then just like blanking off into space as you follow this like story narrative that you're coming up with in your head. Definitely been there. I do that all the time. I do that more when I'm like traveling and stuff, and less when I'm just like working or whatever. Like, yeah, when my music blankouts are normally when I'm just like doing normal stuff where it's just like fried. Huh? What? Like just like totally like that. Bonkers D Bobcat is totally nuts. That is correct, Andrew. But also, Flex, on that note of Sparking Zero, I'm just like not excited for this game. It's just not offering me enough that I haven't already gotten in like Kakarot and Xenoverse 2. I'm obviously, you know, open to being impressed. I'm open to seeing something that like really, you know, makes me want to rush out and buy it. But what I'm seeing right now, it's pretty. It's got a lot of visual quality of life improvements, if that sentiment makes any sort of sense. I don't know if you guys get what I mean. Like, the blurring is better, the beam particle effects are better, the shading is better, there's less model clipping going on there. So like that stuff is happening in the game, but there's just not enough of the meat like for me to go like, I want in on this. Like, oh, like I remember when I saw the footage for Fighters, I shit my pants. I mean, yes, that's also because it is made by ArcSys, and it's also, I love that faster style of gameplay. Like, I'm a Marvel vs. Capcom boy. Those were the streets I got raised up on. Blue Side of the Moon, let's go. Let's fight right the hell now. Avengers Headquarters, that's my stage of choice. Let's go. What's that? Oh, Morgan wants to hang out with you, Spidey? Better tell MJ you're going to be late for dinner. But, so, like, I remember being like, I need this game in my life right now. And then Kakarot, I was like, oh, this is a unique experience. Like, we've gotten third-person Dragon Ball games before, but, like, this is really going all in, and you're going through this, like, this is crazy. Sparking Zero is just like, you want another fighter? Here you go. And it's like, that's cool. There was one cool thing I saw in one of the gameplay trailers where it was like, Vegeta and Goku were beam battling, and I don't know what the mechanic is, obviously, because they didn't detail it. It was just gameplay footage. But at one point, Goku is able to, like, deflect Vegeta's beam. Like, oh, you know what? I'm going to find it, because I know it's easy to find, because I was talking about it with Josh. Josh. Also, shout out to Josh. I know he, if you guys watched Wednesday's Bounding stream, he was out. He's just dealing with some, like, not bad family stuff, just like annoying, tedious family stuff. So shout out to you, my amigo, if you're around. I hope it all works out. I know I gave you the week off so that you could take care of it, but yeah, shout out to Josh. But here, I can find that exact point because it was very, very interesting. Is it right here? YouTube won't like play it. It like jammed up. And I don't understand why it's doing that. Is it right here? So frustrating. Oh, I think I found it. Let me make sure. No, I didn't. Isn't this just riveting, my friends? This is exactly what everybody tuned in for tonight. To watch me try and find a specific clip. Because... oh, I think it's right here. You know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do? Just because I feel like a moron? We are going to just pull up, I'm just going to play the trailer, and eventually it will show us what we want to see. So I'm just going to bring it over. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sure we'll catch it eventually. I'm sure I'll catch it. Yes, Ravul, his brain's idol is Cruel Angel's Thesis or any Fate theme. Yes, Cruel Angel's Thesis. See, that's my that's my fight song. That's like when I'm in my head, it's time to go. That's when the Cruel Angel starts up for me, Ravul. And yeah, of course I understood that reference, Andrew. The most forgotten Disney character of all time, Bonkers the Bobcat. I loved that show as a kid. Like, I was obsessed with that show. You could absolutely ask my parents. Tahillam asks, what jam did YouTube give you? Oh, it was doing the thing where, like, I scrolled forward in the video and I hit play, but it didn't register, so the audio and the timer kept going, but the video, like, stayed completely, like flat. So you guys can sort of see, like, it looks really good. This looks really good for a video game, especially like a Dragon Ball video game. You can clearly see they've had time to develop, they've had time to work. Like, the flame effects on Goku look incredible. The gameplay looks pretty fluid for what it is, but it's also just like, it's not anything we really haven't seen before. I mean, some new animations, some new stuff, but like just not enough. This sort of feels like, to me, like a yearly oh, there it is. That was it. Okay, there it was. Did you guys see that? That's the part I was trying to, where's my cursor? Okay. Goku did it right there. Oh, I think I might have gone too far back, but you'll see it right after when Vegeta fires his garlic gun right here. Right. Yeah. So he like charges up here, and then Goku like deflects it. That's pretty cool. Haven't really seen that we haven't seen a lot of that even in the series, like deflecting a full beam. Like, you know, they do a lot of the like smack away a blast, but they don't do like a beam redirect. So I thought that was cool. But again, it's a graphical improvement that doesn't really, like, what's the gameplay here? Where's the what is the pull here for me that I can't get out of Xenoverse or Kakarot, right? Like, this to me is just a really pretty Xenoverse 2. And I think Xenoverse 2 was a pretty solid ass game. It's not the best, but if you're a Dragon Ball fan, there are way worse ways you can spend your time. Let's see. Yeah, Zero says, I'm not a fan of CyberConnect 2 Dragon Ball games, so Fighters is what I wanted from Dragon Ball, an actual fighting game. So I think the issue with CyberConnect games is less like just, or what am I trying to say? I don't think it's a Dragon Ball specific thing. Yeah, there's KO! And we'll just sit there so that I don't give you guys seizures. And you can look at something kind of pretty. But yeah, like, that's not like with the CyberConnect games, I don't think that's a Dragon Ball specific problem. To me, that's a CyberConnect problem. They are, again, like, they have a lot of, there are titles they have that I really like. Like, there are here, I'm just going to pull them up so that I don't confuse anybody. But clicking all of my stupid, like, bookmarks, so I accidentally went to my fantasy baseball team. But, you know, like, back in the day, CyberConnect 2 did, like, the Dot Hack quadrilogy. They did all the Naruto Shippuden fighters. They did JoJo's All-Star Battle and Eyes of Heaven. But, like, the problem is they rely too much on the stand. They have their model, and it's like Call of Duty, right? Like, here's a 2.5D over the shoulder, or a 3D over the shoulder, third person anime fighting game with a very limited roster and, you know, not very deep combat systems. Obviously, there are exceptions to that sometimes. Like, I think if you'd have sped up the gameplay in All-Star Battle and Eyes of Heaven, the JoJo games, you would have had a really solid, like, competitive fighter. But as it is, they're just too slow. But that's CyberConnect they need to be willing to invest in developing what they have to work with instead of just relying on what they know. And that's what they're doing right now. They just go, okay, One Punch Man game, throw that shit into the engine. Kill La Kill game, throw that shit into the engine. Naruto game, throw that shit into the engine. Like, they could definitely use some like a summit, like go back to the drawing board for a little bit, have a glow up, and then have another like coming out party for yourself, and show us what you've got after that. And then yeah, Flex says, "Oh man, where's my water? Oh, there it is. Looking for my other water bottle." Flex says, "Kakarot is what I wanted Dragon Ball Sagas on PS2 to be." Dude, that game is rough. I know that, like, I think you're right. I think that's what a lot of people wanted from Sagas, and I honestly have to imagine that was at one point their intention for Sagas, but it didn't work. Like, that game was just really, 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 really bad. That was also that weird era of Dragon Ball games where, like, they were kind of just throwing anything out there, and you ended up having a lot of, like, $20 budget Dragon Ball titles, and you had the just random fighting game. It was a weird time. You had the Shin Budokai PSP spinoff, which was like a very watered down version of the Budokai games. Then you had the Dragon Ball Evolution reskin of that game, which was just the exact same game, but the character models were based on the movie. I have that game. I may or may not in my younger years have acquired it through regular what am I trying to say here? Christian ways, if you will. But that game is an amazing piece of like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, it is so weird. But yeah, like, that was just a really weird period of Dragon Ball games. I don't think that period ended until like the first Xenoverse, if that. Maybe Budokai Tenkaichi 3 at the early. No, I think that was like at that period. I don't know. But either way, at the very least, we are outside of like the Dragon Ball Dark era, right? Shinkai says, one of my favorite fighting games that I used to play a lot was a Flash game called Capoeira Fighter 3. In my opinion, not just a nice Flash game, but solid game in general. Dude, I know Flex can speak to this because that is sort of the era we were raised on, but there are so many legitimately good Flash like video games that were made back in the day. I mean, what is the Smash Brothers one? I know there's like somebody made a Smash Brothers one with like all the different sprites, and that one was pretty good. There were, Alien Hominid started out as a Flash game. One of my favorite games of all time might as well be a Flash game, and that's Castle Crashers, which is the follow-up to Alien Hominid. Like, all of that stuff is really good, and I think it's a shame we don't get that anymore. It's a shame that creativity has died in favor of like mobile game monetization markets. Everybody wants to go give their attention to whatever can get them money, but the independent developer creating a genuinely good game flies under the radar until, like, unless they're completely lucky. Like, there are a couple games right now. Balatro is the one that's coming off the top of my head, made by like one person, and that game is amazing, and it's selling incredibly because it's just so good. But that is so rare nowadays, and too many of those type of games are going to fly under the radars, or are going to fly under the radar. Yeah, and then let's see. What's up, Eccentric Banana? There is my boy. How is it going? Always a pleasure to see you, my man. Also, calling you out personally on Twitter. You were like, "Oh man, rare Spencer's sighting." In because I replied to Stephen Kent, a former contributor to Bounding Into Comics. He's running for office in his hometown. And I replied to him, and I was like, "Yeah, go get it. That's my boy." And Eccentric was like, "Whoa, rare sighting." And I'm like, "You literally just saw my Piccolo tweet or day tweet like a second ago." And also, Steven worked for me. Like, of course, like, that's not that rare, you bastard. No, I'm just totally playing with you. It's all like, it was funny, Eccentric. I'm just playing more into the joke. But yeah, Andrew and Zero hit it right on the nail, or hit the nail right on the head here. Strictly formula. The Naruto Shippuden games were solid, but they got super formulaic. They were just the same game with updates to engine and story according to the manga. I mean, very rarely was the engine even updated. It was, again, a lot of those, like Ninja Storm 3 and 4 are just like barely graphical improvements at that. They're like, the first one is like one of the best, like, that is a solid Kusoge's type title. And if you guys don't know what Kusoge is, it's this term in Japanese video games for a game that is like rough, but it has its charms, but you wouldn't necessarily call it like a good game, but it has its merits. It's entertaining. A lot of people may like it. That's how what I consider the very first Shippuden, or the very first Ninja Storm game, the Naruto Ninja Storm game, because it's janky. The graphics are pretty crunchy for that time. Like there's a lot of whatchamacallit, like grain on all the models. It doesn't play that well, but it's got charm. There's something I really like about that system, about its UI, about the way it's presented. So I shout out for that one. I think it already came out, but like Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Revolution or whatever, the one that like combined all of them, that was the only one where I was like, I'm interested in that one. And I think I did grab that one because that was all of them wrapped together. I didn't have to go. Nothing pisses me off more than playing a video game franchise with yearly installments. I mean, I've stopped playing Call of Duty ages ago. Like actual installments of Call of Duty, I stopped playing around. What came after Black Ops? Like Black Ops is a long time ago, and I stopped playing Call of Duty games after that because it was like, I just don't feel like being nickeled and dimed, and I don't want to have to shell out $60 next year. And then Warzone came along, and I played that, but that's like free to play, But yeah, a game that requires you to like invest every year, I just can't get behind. The very few, like for example, I love sports. I'm a giant. You guys may have noticed I use this term in my profiles on different areas a lot, but there's a term I came up with to describe myself, and that's weeabro. Because while I am a giant ass weeb, like obviously you guys are here, you know what I'm all about. Like I'm wearing a One Piece shirt right now. We are looking at a Dragon Ball thing. I'm staring a Dirge of Cerberus wall scroll in the face. But at the same time, I am also a giant bro. Like I love sports. I love going out and, being a knucklehead. I love beer. I love, grilling. I love all of that stuff. So, that said, I love sports, but I don't buy any of the yearly sports releases because it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? You're just nickel and diming us. The very rare, I think I own two like annual sports games, and that's Madden 25, and that was because it was $20 like 3 weeks after it came out because it was on Amazon's Black Friday like deal. And at that time, Madden 25 was like, this is our celebration title. We're doing everything for this fucking title. Let's go. So like that, I got that one. And then I have MLB The Show 22. But this was, I bought this one for two reasons. One, I love Shohei Ohtani. I don't know if there are any other sports fans out there, but holy shit, I love Shohei Ohtani. He is like easily one of my favorite baseball players. But yeah, and so like that's why I bought it, because I'm like, yeah, it's Ohtani, he's on the cover. And then I only bought it because my friends were playing it, and it was more of like a multiplayer experience. So it was like, oh, do we want to spend $50 to go out to the movies and dinner and drinks, or do we want to spend $50 to hang in for the night and play a bunch of baseball for a few hours? But yeah, like if you want me to buy new entries, you got to put in some significant changes to them. Otherwise, either release it as like an expansion pack for a lowered price, or wait until you have something new to show that will actually blow us away. But to that end, and hold that, because I definitely, that's the topic I want to get to. It's what I've been trying to get to for like a second, but there's also stuff to talk about in the chat. So let's get to you guys first. He's only heard rumors about how repetitive Naruto is. He's definitely hasn't done it himself. But let's see. Flex says, my first Dragon Ball game was Dragon Ball Z Hyperdimension on Super Famicom. Good stuff. Yeah. Wolf, Andrew remembers Hyperdimension. Hell yeah. Zeros was Final Bout on the PlayStation. So I'm trying to think now too. Hyperdimension was there. I think, you know what? I think my first actual interaction with a Dragon Ball video game was Final Bout, right? The GT fighter that looks completely awful. Here, let's pull up some gameplay just so in case you guys haven't seen what GT Final Bout looks like it's bad. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to pick my boy. Um, so for some of our younger viewers, even though I'm pretty sure like 98% of us, save like maybe S, is you're all in my same age range. But back in the day, one like in the PlayStation era, the Dreamcast era, the disc eras, it was actually like video game piracy was pretty rampant. There were a lot of ways where you could get burned video games and play them on a different region PlayStation. And being from a Filipino family and having family who lives out there and regularly travels back and so forth, at some point, one of my cousins got like a burned copy of this game, and I was obsessed with it. And that was the first time I played, or he got like a burned copy of the game. And I remember playing this, and that was my first interaction with like a Dragon Ball game. And I remember wanting to play this so bad, specifically like, like being that like 7-year-old, 8-year-old, watching my cousins play, being like, I want to play because of Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Like, this looks awful now, but this was like amazing back in the day for like an 8-year-old. It blew my absolute mind. But as far as I think like my first proper video game interaction with the Dragon Ball franchise, like, I think it might have been the Super Budoden games, the ones that preceded Hyperdimension, because Hyperdimension's cool. I just was never like a fan of its like hyper detailed sprite style. I mean, you remember, Flex, back in the day when we used to do sprite comics, I always hated when people used those sprites as the base because they were just so much more detailed and complicated than everything else. It felt like it lost style points to me. Here. Let's see, that was that. I'll bring up a... Like, it's good. Like, I just think it's a little detailed. The art style is not awful. It doesn't look bad per se. I just think they could have gone a little more stylized. But I did like that, how you could kick them between, like, screens. I also think the reason I didn't like this game so much is because it's based on the Buu Saga, and I just don't care. Like, I do not care about the Buu Saga at all. Never cared about it as a kid either. Again, best part of the Buu Saga is the Great Saiyan Man. And Videl. What the hell? Oh, right. They transferred. But, like, this is, like, a really cool gameplay element. Like, I think they got super ambitious here. Like, that's really cool. So, yeah, there are just so many Dragon Ball video games. And then I saw Flex. Yeah, Flex brought it up. Dragon Ball Z Kyoshu Saiyan on Famicom was my first Dragon Ball RPG. I could only play it via Nesticle, and I had no idea what the card said, but it was still kind of addictive. Dude, I think everybody had a game like that. I was talking with a friend the other day about the old days of importing video games and what we used to play and yada yada. And we came to the conclusion that, like, it's a sort of badge of honor if you were alive back in those days and you wanted to play an import game where you just like tried to brute force your way through it. I know obviously Flex brought his up there. I know Andrew probably had a similar experience. I see my boy Steven is here with a comment I'll address in a second, but I know he went through it too. But just like for me, I brute forced Mega Man Battle Network 1. So when I was a kid, obviously I've always been a Mega Man fan. That is here some more trivia for y'all. Mega Man is my #1 video game franchise of all time. Like, you put Mega Man on anything, I am there in a heartbeat. And after that, it's like Metal Gear Solid and I don't know. I'd probably have to look. Final Fantasy VII probably. Considering how much of a simp I am, yeah, definitely Final Fantasy VII. But as a kid, so Mega Man Battle Network, the Game Boy Advance, that comes out in like 2000, 2001. And as a kid, I remember reading, or as a kid, I was very internet literate. Obviously, as we're talking, I talked last week about how I was in Brian Saigai Beaumont's like Sprite community, how I met like a bunch of people, used IRC when I was like 12. Like, so I was on a lot of the Mega Man fan sites, and they were getting news about this new entry coming. That's a brand new Mega Man title, and it's going to change everything. And it's, you know, a new Mega Man himself. It's you know, it's not X, it's not Volnut, it's not Classic, it's a new one. And I remember being insanely excited, like, oh my God, I need this game. How do I get this game? And I remember being like, I need it. Not really understanding that doesn't necessarily get things localized for you. So my grandma, champion that she is, rest in peace, like for my 11th birthday or what it was, not only did she buy me a Game Boy Advance, like a brand new one, but I don't fucking know how. This woman was like 70. She went online and found me, she imported a copy of Mega Man Battle Network 1. I don't know how, to this day. It's still one of the most like blow my mind things she's ever like done, just because I don't know how she knew how to navigate that world. Like, that is not her world. She liked to sit and listen to baseball on the radio and fill out, like, the scorecards, right? Like, she doesn't know video games. But she got it for me, and then as a kid, you know, I pop it in. Oh, it's Japanese? Well, let's fucking go. And, again, you have more time and more patience as a kid, so I eventually brute forced my way all through that game. I don't think I did any of the secret stuff, obviously, but I definitely just random encounters forever, and then I eventually beat Wily, and it was so, like, that was one of my brute force games, and it's just, everybody needs to have done it at some point. Like, everybody, like, that's for real gamers, all right? Let's see. Christian Ada says, oh my God, grown men acting like babies over a comic film costume. No wonder this country is going to crumble. Ugh. First of all, don't know who the fuck you are. Second of all, you're clearly just concern trolling because we haven't even said anything about the costume yet. And 3, you don't know who I am because I've clearly talked about this costume already, so you would know what my thoughts are, and you can eat ass. But there, yeah, Banana says he was just messing with me. Oh yeah, I totally knew that. Reeve, interesting. Reeve says, I can't get into watching sports events on TV. It's never been my thing, despite my love for playing sports. That's interesting. I know a lot of people who don't like, actually, I was like that when I was younger. It was sort of like, well, I would much rather be there interacting and doing it myself instead of watching. Nowadays, I appreciate sports more. Like, I watch it as an idle thing in the background. Like Sunday mornings, during NFL season, I'll put on like a game. I'll put on the game, the Bears game, and I'll play a video game. And I'll just listen to everything coming in. And then, like, you know, I'll care about the highlights after, or I'll care about the stats and all the strategy afterwards. But sometimes, like, I will admit, during the games themselves, it does tend to get kind of boring. Especially, you know, football does get kind of boring. Baseball gets kind of boring. Even hockey, at moments, can get boring. Even though that's less so, because everything is, like, way faster flying there. So, yeah, it's everybody has a weird relationship with sports, and as long as you're not, and I'm not saying this is you, Reeve, I'm now going to a separate thought, but it's like, everybody has their own relationship with sports. As long as you're not the kind of person going, ooh, sports ball, dumb jock nerd, blah, blah, blah. Like, as long as you're not that person, I think everybody will be completely okay. Yeah, and yeah, Steven says the true Japanese gold in the Philippines. Guys, go look this up. There is a hidden cache of, like, gold spread all over the Philippines from, like, World War II, and apparently, like, people know where it is. Like, the Marcos family knows where it is. So my friend Steven and I were talking about this last night. I'm now ready to, like, go dedicate my life to going back to my homeland and foraging for this goddamn gold. Because if I can find even just a bar, I could rule that, like, I could own that country like a king. Yeah, Zero. No. I'm not saying this looks bad at all. I'm saying it personally doesn't work for me. Like, it's a personal taste thing because I just think it's a little too detailed, realistic looking. It's not bad. It's just not for me. Like, we've talked, you know, like when you get perfect example. We talk about this in Andrew's Discord all the time, right? Comic artist Brett Booth. A lot of you guys know him. He was on Flash. He's like a big DC artist. He was on Flash. He was on New 52, Teen Titans, all that, you know, all that sort of stuff. And I think he is a good artist. So Andrew is a giant fan. That's like his number one, like, artist. I don't enjoy his art. There are things that I personally find that it doesn't sit right with me. But that doesn't mean I go, oh, he's a bad artist. I go, okay, it's not for me. I can recognize the skill. I can recognize why you like it. It's just, it's not doing it for me. Conversely, like you guys here all know how much I love Peach Momoko. Andrew, it just, he's given it a shot multiple times. Like he's done it, he's done it for me. He tried to read Ultimate X-Men and he's like, it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't hit. And it's just a matter of personal taste. But overall, like the game does look really, really, really solid, especially for an SNES game. Especially with like the backgrounds. Like I love the backgrounds in this game. Let's see. Yeah, Andrew, Mega Man Battle Network, what the fuck? This man is out of his damn mind. I did that with Pokemon Black and White initially and Fire Red. So, yes, I totally admit that I was out of my mind. But, like, as a kid, there's something about being able to brute force options back then. And then you do the sort of pattern recognition where you see, like, oh, that block of kanji looks like the last block of kanji that I clicked that advanced the menu. So let's try that one again. So like, it's not like I blew through it like a genius, but yeah, it took me, that was my brute force game. And then Jump Ultimate Stars. If anybody played that, I talk about the game all the time. I still owe everybody here a playthrough. I know I do, but that is the Shonen Jump style. Here, we can pull up another thing. Let's see. Jump Ultimate Stars. I don't want all of you. Yeah, I don't want like these reviews. I just want whatever. This guy looks like he did it well, so we can just watch this. Shout out to Shonen Games. He put a filter on it. It looks awful. Hate that filter on Sprite Games. How dare you? But yeah, like this game I brute force through. Not as hard as Mega Man Battle Network, but still a little difficult to get through all of like the story menus and whatnot. But yeah, badge of honor. That's kind of all I was saying with that. And also I'm curious now because you brought up the Pokemon. I would deign to imagine that it was a little easier for you to, and again, I'm not measuring dicks, I'm not denigrating I'm not doing any of that stuff, but it's like, I feel like you probably had an easier time going through those Pokemon games than I did through Battle Network because you at least knew fundamentally how the Pokemon games worked and like where the menu options were and like that general stuff, so you weren't completely in the dark, you know what I mean? But still, it's not like it's easy to go through like all the side quest stuff, like how do you know where to go next? How do you know which NPC to talk to? No, you just got to brute force your way through it. Let's see. Flex said, in Kyosho, I once beat Nappa with all party members at full health before triggering the event where Goku arrives. Then Vegeta stepped in and did a one-turn TP. That sucks. Like, but like my smile emerged because I'm like, dude, I feel that. Like, we've all been there. We've all been caught in the cheese when it came to like a card game. Somebody brought it up. I swear somebody brought it up in the chat earlier. Don't remember who, or even if any you actually did. But the Pokemon trading card game, I don't know, somebody might have brought it up, but I want another one of those. I want another one of those, and I want more cheese because that's the shit I want. That's just an irrelevant thought. Again, no deeper thing to explore there than that. Let's see. Zero says he did it to Vampire Hunter D. Oh, you watched that like completely in Japanese without knowing anything? I mean, in Brazil, you guys get all that stuff easily too. So they didn't have subtitles or anything. That's crazy. And then yeah, Shinkai says I'm ready for that Golden Kamuy journey. I am. Get me the legendary gold from the criminal. It is literally criminal gold. Like it is the Golden Kamuy story. The more that I think about it, Shinkai, now I have to go and see if like maybe there was something there. Who knows? But yeah, so let's go for that Golden Kamuy journey. I'm so ready for that. Mav is more of a Howard Porter guy. I'm going to throw you across the room. How dare you? I cannot stand Howard Porter's art. And then, let's see. Oh, no offense taken. Pokemon was way easier than Metal Man Battle Network would have been with no prior experience. I didn't mention, but I played that game hard. Dude, It's such a good game. Like I can't get over how good the how Battle Network was. Again, that's like also it is the like whoa. Whoa. Technicals. Where did I even knock it? There we go. I tried to get a visual aid, and my Transformers animated Starscream fell off the shelf, and it fell into my power brick extension thing, and it shorted, or it unplugged everything, and now I have to... Now he is Robotech. Now we Robotech now. You see that? We're Robotech. No, I'll fix him later. We don't need to do that on stream. But yeah, like this is probably like the last good collection Capcom will ever put out. There's no censorship. There's no removed features. There's only added features. I mean, it's missing like 2 games, sure, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Wow, that was not as cool as I had hoped that it would come off. All right, let's put that back. But yeah, let's see. Flex says, I have the Switch version of the Mega Man Battle Network Collection 1 and 2. It was initially more stable than the Steam version. The downside is I can't find any online trades or matches which are necessary to 100% Battle Network 2 and 3. That's disappointing. I really, really feared that was going to happen because, like, how sustainable are these, like, online communities for these older games in collections past like a couple months, right? I have no idea how the Steam release is doing. That makes me really bummed, Flex, because like I've been putting in work on that one on my Switch port, but if I can't finish that thing, then do I go and buy the Steam one and just crack on with that? I have no idea. That is a bummer to me. That makes me okay. I take back my assessment from before, or no, I mean my assessment as far as like the collection's production, that still stands. But as far as that stuff, yeah, that is really, really, really disappointing. More games need to have the option where they just give those to you. I have so many games sitting in my my PlayStation library where the last remaining trophies are, play against a dev, do a specific knockout on an online match, in this region or whatever. And it's just like, these games are dead. The dev studios behind them don't even exist anymore. They've been shuttered. What the hell am I supposed to do? So yeah, they gotta get that. They gotta get that ironed out. Andrew says, I hope they do a Star Force collection. I bought Battle Network collection on both, just like I do with all of the Atlas Shin Megami Tensei spin-off games. So the reason I don't go for PC like purchases is because, one, I am physical all the way. If I can get a physical release of something, that's what I'm going to do, because at least now I know that if the Steam servers ever go down or whatever, or if for some reason Steam, a payment like processor decides they don't want me around on Steam, I still have my copy right here that I can still play. I do grab digital versions for my Pakistani PC, GameCube, Switch, whichever console I happen to be playing. I have a very full collection of Pakistani consoles, but it's just you might have a little. I prefer to spend my money on anime figures and trading card games instead of multiple copies of video games. Let's see. Just to try and explain what I'm talking about, I dropped a little hint there in the chat. And then Flex says, it's not a big deal unless you really want to try Battle Network 2's hard mode. I just don't like the idea. Like, I get that, and that's why I was like, okay, it doesn't really affect my assessment. It's just a bummer. But to me, it's like that. It just bothers me when anything is sort of gatekept is the right word, but like cut off. Like any feature is cut off. Anything is made unaccessible or unplayable because of something like that, like a multiplayer only requirement. Like that is like not, it's not, I don't even know what I'm trying to say there. Yeah. Like I don't like that. I think I totally had my race car going, S says you can spend your money on me. JK Obs, you're not. But also, I need to know where you are to spend money on you, right? Like, again, you disappeared. All I know is that you're in the general London area, and I refuse to ever, without a purpose and plan, I am not stepping foot within those borders, ever. Duck says, please tell me I didn't miss the Drake versus K-Dot talk. No, you did not. I have not touched upon it yet. I'll probably talk about that at the wrap of the show. I know that a lot of more viewers are not rap fans, but I need to talk about this shit because it is so hilarious. But we will get to that. Let's see. Reef says, same. I picked up a physical copy of Sea of Stars today. I am 8-bit did the physical for that. If it was LRG, I would have passed. I was just about to say, like, really? I thought that was LRG, but then you clarified, like, right away. I have a very complicated relationship with I am 8-bit because I like a lot of their releases. They do a lot of quality work, but at the same time, I think they charge too much and they try way too hard to lean into, like, the prestige art sort of, like, aspect of everything, which makes accessibility a little harder. But again, that's sort of just a general problem we have with boutique physical game printers, right? Like LRG, I am 8-bit. There are a couple other independent ones that are popping up more and more. It's just go back to giving us like general physical releases. I don't know. It's all dumb. Yeah, Ravul says single player offline games only. That's what I'm talking about. Like, but that's the problem. Like Battle Network, for example, you can play those all single player. They are single player games through and through. They have a multiplayer option, which then, you need online, and that's where you run into all the issues, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It is, like, so what I'm saying is that, like, putting things like achievements or like unlockables or whatever behind those multiplayer requirements in any game, regardless of what it is, it puts a time limit. Especially, there are rare cases where a game dev will come back and say, hey, this game is like 20 years old, nobody's around, here's all that shit. But more often than not, they don't. They just let it fester. They let it sit, or they release it like this where they don't think ahead to what happens when the ecosystem dies. It really sucks. Flex says it's actually more accessible since the online features were only available via link cable in the original versions. There's just not many Battle Network players on Switch. So I get that, but that is that's a different accessibility than I was talking about. I meant like if there's a gameplay feature that you have and then it gets locked behind. Oh, you know what? You are saying what I'm saying, and you are saying it's better. So you're right. You are right. It is better than it was on Game Boy. I take back what I was arguing about because I was being an idiot. But I still think just locking anything behind a requirement like that is just really, really, really rough. And I know especially for Battle Network, like that, the harder modes and the multiplayer matches and everything, that's how you get better chips. That's how you arm yourself for that later game. So it doesn't sit right. Like, I would like to have the luxury to be able to just go. I mean, this is what's crazy about it, right? Is that collection actually, I just remembered this. That collection does have the option where you go for the base cards. Like the base EXE, like 1, 2, 3, the cards that you used to have to like e-reader for. Remember, like those, they said, here, you can just have them because that feature doesn't exist anymore. So I don't know why I don't know, that it's so weird. Again, we just need a revamp of that entire industry from top to bottom. There are 9 different problems with it that are all sort of unrelated. Lack of originality in gameplay, lack of customer support, lack of good product that makes it worth your while to spend money on it. There's just all this shit that needs to go down. So you are right, Flex. I'm just salty. And then, yeah, Andrew says, I would buy physical for PC if it was a thing, but it's not, and I enjoy my mods. So that's where I'm at, too. Like, if there were PC physical releases, I am on it. I am on it like a fly on shit. Like, don't even get me wrong. But they don't do them anymore. So, to me, that's why. So, my logic, and again, this is only my logic. This is how I see it. Nobody else has to, and nobody else has to agree with it. But I buy Mega Man Battle Network here. I'll get a copy for my, a cheaper discounted copy for my Pakistani one, for my Pakistani Switch. And that way I can, I'm still accessing what I legally bought just on a different platform. And so I can do things like mod it or whatnot, so on and so forth. I come from sort of the realm of, if you've bought that thing, you should be able to access it on whatever platform it can be accessed on, sort of, right? Like, obviously there's a lot more to interrogate there. We'll probably get into that more as we, through on some later episode when that topic comes up, but that's kind of where I am right now. S says, would you come to London to meet me? I would, but again, it would have to be like, we are going here, and then here. You don't go like, go wander around in London, because I would just sit there the entire time, like wanting to go home, going, ugh, Britain smells. You know what? That's not fair. I would go to my favorite place. I would go to Nando's. I would just go get a cheeky Nando's, like my entire trip there, because I love Nando's. Reeve says, get that physical Xenoblade. I would, if it weren't like $900,000 everywhere. Although, wait, they did it on Switch, didn't they? Let's see. Maybe that's like normal priced. Oh, yeah, that is completely normal priced. Well, I'll get it someday. Let's put it that way. I'll get it someday. Were you not here for my beginning rant about the economy and just how awful everything is right now? We're not in a great place. But so, one thing I kind of wanted to get to and just sort of briefly talk about, and I think this is like the best opportunity or like segue to just like touch upon it. So we were talking earlier about, originality and how that really is on the way out, how, devs or production companies or whatever don't want to, invest that money or that time or that effort or anything into anything that's a risk anymore, right? And we were talking about the card-ass machine because, it's hard to justify a $7,000, $8,000 machine, all that. Yeah, Reeve says, yeah, you buy expensive figures. Completely different philosophy, okay? And do you want to have a debate about this? Do you want to debate me, bro? Do you want to set up a debate stream about? No, I'm kidding. So yeah, like the card ass thing, it's hard to invest in because it's a new thing. Do you put the support behind it if you don't know that it's going to pay off for you? And I bring it. Or I want to expand that into a more general discussion real quick, because that sentiment of originality is sort of not what we want it's prevalent now. That is what we are seeing across absolutely every single industry. So over the course of this last week, we got these various headlines. We had one where the head of Disney Plus Japan's animation division, which is in charge of, all the acquisitions and production decisions for their anime specific platform, Disney Plus Star, which again, not in North America, everywhere else, but it's just not here in America. So in America, their anime goes on Hulu. Don't ask me why. It's one of those licensing things. It's not that salacious. It's just dumb. It's just tedious. Welcome to American business contracts. So the exec from Disney Plus straight up admitted that as anime is expanding into the world, into a more global audience, creators are starting to, right here, shift towards more acceptable expressions. Essentially, paraphrasing his entire interview or paraphrasing his point, because they have to think about how do we market our product out here in the West with these sensibilities, according to what we are being told from our contacts is what the West wants, which is like more progressive messaging and more memes inserted into everything. Like that's what they're hearing. And so they're going, okay, well, let's curve our production at the very base and make it more acceptable for outside audiences. Now, quick note, because I talked about this on Wednesday with Nerdigans, while it is, she pointed out that censorship by the anime industry is not new. And, often a series will be aired on TV and its TV version will be completely censored or cut something, and the Blu-ray will be released uncensored. the difference in the situations here is that this isn't them going, we're going to create this and let you censor it for one showing on this one specific platform, but the original one still exists. They're going, we don't want to do this. We can't do this because the West is going to shit their pants over whatever it is. And like I said earlier, America only overreacts, and that's what we do. Anytime something like, look at all the, neoliberal, like insane people. Anytime something comes out that has a sexy lady on it or has, a white character front and center, they lose their minds. They call it racism. They call it, white supremacy baked into everybody's minds. So that's the kind of stuff they're actively trying to avoid now. I mean, I was showing this to Andrew, Adam, Reeve, Zero earlier today, but if you go look at the the Twitter accounts for Fire Emblem Fates or Fire Emblem Heroes in America, or like the international version and the Japanese version, when they announce characters, the Japanese Twitter account will always drop a full body profile of whatever character it is. If it's a sexy like anime lady, it'll show booba and all. In America, when it comes to the female characters, male characters, they'll show full body completely fine, doesn't matter. But the female characters, they will only show their heads, leaving it to the player to click on the tweet and go see the full profile. Like, it is really, 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 really exceedingly stupid. But that's the kind of stuff that is starting to affect production over there in anime land. Then we have, this recent news out of Microsoft, where I don't know if you guys saw it this week, but Microsoft completely gutted not only Arcane Studios, which is the team that was behind the really good Prey Not Prey reboot, and then was unfortunately, thanks to Microsoft's headassery and like corporate greed, was reassigned to making really, really fucking terrible games, most notably Redfall, which was just disaster, like defined. And they also closed Tango Gameworks, which, made Hi-Fi Rush, which was a very small studio, it was a small studio founded by Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami. It made The Evil Within 1, The Evil Within 2, Ghostwire Tokyo, and then Hi-Fi Rush. So all these sort of smaller games that, tried something different, maybe didn't necessarily pan out or didn't, do gangbusters, but that's sort of what this studio was producing. I mean, The Evil Within the first one was a little wonky, with number 2 being a slight improvement. Ghostwire Tokyo was, in my opinion, sort of a miss, like just narratively, gameplay wise, but they were trying to do something new. And then they, Hi-Fi Rush, I think, was a perfect example of what we need more of in the industry, which was a title developed by a smaller team with genuine passion, with an original idea, and sold for, $30 as a retail title. You didn't have to go, they didn't have to sell Hi-Fi for 60 like big boys. But following that closure, and they also shifted around a bunch of other studios, I would recommend going and reading this article where I actually broke it down, because it's a lot of like, this team's going to that team, and this division's going to this division, but this one's being shuttered, but this is being... So, like, it's not interesting to hear me talk about it, but if you want the details, it's there. But literally, like, the day after, the head of Xbox had a town hall where he straight up told everybody that the reason we shuttered these studios is because we need to prioritize our bigger games, and we need smaller games that give us prestige and awards, which is literally what the fuck Hi-Fi Rush was. Like, that game made every Game of the Year list. It won industry awards, which, like, I personally don't put any stock into, but obviously the industry does. Like, that, they literally had what they wanted with Hi-Fi Rush, and they shut the fucking doors. And if you look between the lines and you look at everything, Microsoft saying we need to focus on our priority games. We need our big titles. That's what this is what I'm sort of talking about with the death of originality and creativity. There was the other one where Bob Iger, in terms of movies, announced that going forward, Disney's focus now is not going to be on original works, but it's going to be on sequels. So you're going to keep getting inside, you have your Inside Out 2, you have your Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes that just dropped, you have your Avengers 5, you have like 3 more Star Wars movies coming out, you have Mandalorian and Grogu. Like, That's everything they're focusing on. And if you look between the lines and you take everything in, the reality is they're doing this because of greed, right? Like there is that meme that is always sort of that meme line that's floated around when it comes to finance, which is companies are always looking for a line go up. And that is what it is. That's what's happening here, is that because, you know, more original titles, smaller titles, they're riskier and thus don't guarantee, you know, a smash hit or all of your development costs back. Because of that, these companies are starting to err away from even looking at them. So that's why you're going to keep getting your multi-million dollar Call of Duties. You're going to keep getting your Suicide Squads that end up costing Warner Brothers Discovery $200 fucking million. Like, that is where we're at now. I've talked about this all the time because, oh no, Marcy, no. I'm sorry for my cussing. I totally forgot. But, yeah, like because these, they don't, you know, they want the line to go up, and if a riskier title doesn't make that line go up, they see it as a failure. So instead of giving any attention to anything like that, they're only going in on recognizable brand names, because in their minds, in the executive minds, this is the stuff that is going to, it's recognizable, people know it, so to them, it's easy. It's an easy way to just grab some cash. I mean, that's literally what Iger admits right here. Quote, they're known and it takes less in terms of marketing. Because of this, so with that mentality being at the top, and then with everything becoming consolidated and homogenized, and, you know, studios being acquired here, properties being acquired there, everything is just sort of being mashed into this area where it's all of our hobbies. I mean, we've all sort of known this for a long time, like anecdotally, but now we're seeing the confirmation that it's not about art. It's not about originality. It's not about creativity in these industries now. It is about, give me money. You need to give me your money because I gave you thing. It doesn't matter the quality of it. It's just, this is what we expect now. We expect you to give us money. And like at least for me, I find that terrifying. And like, it's so disheartening, you know, not only being a fan of this stuff, but also being somebody who wants to create, who, you know, does art, whether that be my music or my drawing or my writing. Like, we are literally no longer rewarding people for being creative, for bringing us this new stuff that we could all enjoy. It is we are only promoting and rewarding people who can crap out a new Star Wars script. Like, it is so dire where we're at right now that I mean, for months I've been calling for a video game industry crash, but at this point I want just a full-blown fucking like entertainment industry crash, because this cannot hold. Between, like, if you guys keep doing sequels for things that people have already lost interest in, and you keep losing money on that, and then you don't want to invest in original things, well, eventually all the nostalgia factor for your properties is going to die. I mean, look at Indiana Jones. Aside from the fact that it was awful, it didn't even get the nostalgia bump that they were expecting. That's how bad it got. And that's because Indy has been idle for like decades. You had one movie with Crystal Skull, but you had no games, you had no comic books, you had no merchandise, you had nothing coming out of that. So it's just like, if people are over those and you're not giving anybody anything new to latch onto, what does that say? You know, obviously that means that we're going for a bad run of unoriginal products that just give us the same things that are safe. But what does that say sort of for the overall artistic culture of like not just our country, but the world? If this is what is being, you know, promoted, is that the only way to do business is to go for sequels, to go for the big things instead of anything small that might blow you out of the water. Again, like this is what's so stupid, is that most of these big franchises, all the things that are big now, had to start somewhere really small, had to exceedingly like tiny. The first Call of Duty game was good and people liked it, but it wasn't a bang out blowout success. It wasn't netting millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars out the gate. But you know what? It didn't have to, because they weren't spending that much on it. And it was presented as a game, not an investment product, an entertainment product. You know, comic books took forever to get to where they are, where they're multi-million dollar earners on the screen. We talk here all the time about how anime had to go through the ringer to become just as barely acceptable as it is in America now. So, like, it is a bizarre. We'll never know. Like, it's not like Hollywood executive stupidity is new. It's just now, I don't know. It's particularly dire because they're not even trying anymore. They're just going, make a sequel. Fuck it. And it's just like what Shinkai says here. Recognizable isn't always a good thing. I can recognize a garbage dump, doesn't mean I'll go there. Exactly, right? Like, okay, you've got an Inside Out 2 sequel coming out. You're Disney. That doesn't inspire confidence in me because I know what you guys have put out for the last, like, couple decades. Like, it's bad. And it's just like, you know, with indies being pushed out, like, we, you know, support indies. I'm so disheartened at what this means for creativity, what this means for younger creators, what this means for originality, what it means for the future of just, you know, even if I to take like just the layman's look at it, what does this mean for our entertainment going forward? This is not new, but 9 more Star Wars movies aren't going to save Disney. Dude, the next 2 Avengers movies probably aren't going to save Disney, considering where they are. So this isn't, at least in terms of what Iger's doing, this is like a Band-Aid, and you're avoiding the real problem, which is like you need to invest in quality. You need to take risks again. You need to do original. This is literally, we are literally looking at an image from a Pixar movie, and Pixar is like the poster child for the fact that you know, for taking risks, for original ideas and stories. And now they're doing Inside Out 2, Toy Story 5. There's a rumor going around that there's The Incredibles 3 is like now in production. This is awful. And then like the original stuff that does get put out there, honestly, I put on my tinfoil, and it's like they almost conspire to make that shit fail so that they have an excuse to write it off. And my main example of this, and don't worry, yes, here, I'm going to hydrate in the middle of it. But like, oh man, I totally like blanked on where I was going with this, with that last point. With Microsoft. So like, to that point about they don't care about their smaller titles, Microsoft, all right, they own Ninja Theory has a new game coming out, Hellblade 2, Setsuna's Revenge or whatever. Obviously a sequel to the first Setsuna's Hellblade. I never played the first one. I've heard it has its fans. It's too much of a walking simulator-esque game for me, but people liked it. This new title, you know, it dropped its first trailer to like roaring applause from everyone. That game comes out in like a week. There is no advertising behind it. That is an original title by a smaller studio that'll probably garner it awards just like Xbox wants, but they're not putting any effort into promoting it. They put out one tweet that just said something like, get ready for Hellblade 2. Not even like a click this link for more information, you know, nothing unique and like personable to the actual like game. Like, where will like Setsuna's journey take her now? Will she fight back against this enemy? Yada yada. It's just coming soon. And it's just like, it is just a really just awfully awful time right now. Let's see. And Duck says, yeah, 9 new episodes of Star Wars won't save Disney, but 9 new episodes of porn stars will. Hashtag fact. At this point, I feel like the only thing that can save Disney is by going blue, right? Like, I would not be surprised if we see, like, Disney adult, like, eventually coming down the line, and they fill it with a bunch of, like, Euphoria-style shows, or the L Word, or just those really hoity-toity, pretentious, like, fart-sniffing, like, over dramas, if you know what I mean, right? Like the ones that intentionally go out to be like, we are telling a message, and it's always heavy-handed, and it rarely ever like comes across. Let's see. Volume Dealer, hey, Volume Dealer showing up. What is up, my man? He says, man, it's been 4 days on X of talking about Superman. All of the engagement farmers are all over trying to make Superman content. They are. It has been. I mean, this is I sort of mentioned this, or I've been mentioning this over the past couple weeks, but we are in sort of a slower rut when it comes to things in our sphere to sort of talk about. I mean, there's a lot going on in video games, but when it comes to movies and television, we're sort of in that middle, like, lull before, you know, we haven't gotten a proper Captain America trailer yet. We haven't seen anything, we've got no new announcements past that. You know, the newest Marvel announcement is Galactus, and it actually looks pretty accurate and interesting. Dude, I love Ralph Ineson from The Witch. Like, that's an amazing performance. Very excited to see that. So, like, I can see why they are, but I'm with you, Volume. It doesn't really make it any better. But on that topic, I think, you know, I'm going to bring up, because, you know, I promised it in the headline, let's just take a quick look at the suit. Again, this will just be like 2 seconds. So here is our new Superman suit, David Corenswet, or as worn by David Corenswet in James Gunn's upcoming Superman reboot film. Yeah, so I'm sure at this point everybody here has seen it. You've all talked about it, yada, yada, yada. Very briefly, here are my thoughts on it. One, the only thing I really like about this image is the fact that Superman has a spit curl. I think that, you know, I'm happy to see that back again, even if it does look a little extra, as the kids would say. I think it works. Like, I liked it on Brandon Routh a lot, especially when he wore it again in Crisis, the CW Crisis, when he busted it back out. So I like that. That's basically where this shit ends, because my biggest criticism of this suit is, gosh, I'm gonna have to zoom in, but the zoom is like being all weird for you guys. But I've said it before, I've said it everywhere, I said it on Twitter, I say it on Bounding, I say it in my Bounding articles. Yeah. So I'm thinking of Marcy now, so I'm trying not to swear. Stop with the MCU lines. Like, it does nothing. This does not contribute to the character. It doesn't add anything to his character. It just makes it look overcomplicated and over-designed. Cider, you know, he was here earlier, my boy from over at Bounding Into Comics. He brought up this theory that, or he made this joke, but Cider has this awful, like, he has, whether he, like, he has an unconscious, like, into, like, Hollywood executive brains. Because Cider always makes jokes about, you know, pop culture or, like, decisions or, like, what something might turn out to be. And almost always he's, like, exactly on the money. So Cider made a joke to me where he's like, but Spencer, if he doesn't have those lines, how would you not know that it's, like, Kryptonian battle armor that he repurposed for his... And it's just like, I actually feel like that's probably what it's going to be. And that just makes me tired, because it's like, we don't need special Kryptonian battle armor. I mean, even Cavill's suit was just a suit that his, like, father made for him. It wasn't like, you know, this is what we all wear on the battlefield. It was like, I made this for you because I know you're going to do great things. And that echoes sort of what Ma Kent does originally, making his costume, where she's like, you need something to protect your identity. So the MCU lines, I'm just, like, not about, you know, I guess I like the fact that there's a little cut in his boots, which is like what Superman has. I like the red trunks too. But and yes, like S says she would tap that, but I'm not going to deny that David Corenswet is an attractive man. Like, he's very handsome. He's very well filled out for this role. But the thing, overall, my biggest takeaway from this image is that I don't think this is a good image to communicate Superman, because to me, Superman is that superhero. He is the archetypal superhero. He is the one at the front. He is the one everybody looks up to. You know, he is the first to leap into the fray. He will always put himself second to helping anybody, no matter how big of a crisis or how small. You know, he if he's walking with Lois Lane and he hears a gunshot, he'll fly off, you know, without her knowing, solve it, fly back in super speed. She'll be like, oh, were you listening to me, Clark? Like, you know, that's a very classic Superman bit that they have in a lot of comics and shows. This image right here doesn't communicate that sort of heroic Superman. This is a Superman who's putting on his clothes with all the gravitas I have when I realize, like, oh shit, I left the trash cans out. It's 1 a.m., trash is tomorrow. Ugh, fine, I gotta put on my pants, put on my shoes. Okay, damn it, it's so frustrating. Like, this doesn't communicate, I want to help, I'm here to fight. This is, I'm done. Like, not my problem, bro. Like, ugh, I need a mental health day. Again, because a lot of people have been saying like this is him like taking off his suit or he's suiting up. But the fact that there's an active like fight happening in the background makes me go, why the fuck aren't you there? Right? Like if the Superman we all know is like, if the minute he heard a giant beam charging up and shooting into the sky, he'd be over there. And especially like if it's at the point where it's connecting with something and it's like hovering over the skies of Metropolis, the Superman we know or we knew would have rushed in there. He'd be there right now. He wouldn't be like, do I have the time for it? You know, I gotta, I don't know. It's going to be a tough one. I'm going to be cutting it close. Like, it's a very apathetic message that this image communicates. And I just think Gunn swung and missed if trying to make this the first image. Of course, you know, I stand to be corrected. I stand to see more once the actual movie comes out, but I just don't think that this is a miss of a costume. This is a miss of a promo image. It's kind of a massive stumble for the first thing you're showing of your brand new all over cinematic universe, right? Let's see. Volume Dealer says, I don't know. I think people are overthinking creating their own story about the images more than he's ugly. I mean, that's sort of all we can really do, because that's sort of what Gunn did here. He gave us this image and gave us no context. He doesn't tell us, is this post-battle? Is this supposed to just be a fun, like, maybe this is a, like you guys know in like GQs or Entertainment Weeklies, like sometimes people will do fun photo shoots, right? Like, one of the ones I remember, and obviously you'll understand why in like a second, but the back in the day, back in like 2009, the pop punk band All Time Low did an interview for Alternative Press, which was the like emo pop punk magazine back in the day. And in their photo shoots, the photo shoot theme was they were the Fantastic Four. So each of them were in like different poses. They would have like different stuff photoshopped on them, but they'd also be like, you know, there was a shot of them like in a laundromat doing their costumes. So like those things exist. We just don't know what it is. He gave us no context for this. So we can only go off of what we see, and it's sort of on Gunn to come out and tell us things. Essentially, like, I'm not saying you're wrong, Volume, where people are sort of overreacting and maybe making their own stories, but if what that communicates to me is that Gunn is doing this on purpose, and he's sort of going to go, let them, you know, have their theories, blah, 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 so that later on I can go, gotcha, haha, aren't you guys so stupid? Shouldn't you have waited? And it's like, well, you intentionally left us with no information. How is that on us? Like, this is what movie people do. And we know Gunn is like that. Gunn is very disingenuous about the way people interact with media and entertainment, like so often in just like all of his social media stuff. So I don't put a lot of stock into anything like that. So yeah, I'll be a drama queen. I don't care. What do you know about that? I'm here to tear it up on a Friday. Hold on a second. God damn it, I forgot to unmute myself. Yeah. I'm still here. Rhaegar says, you wear pants, and I do when I have to go out in public, just because of the law, right? But trust me, 50-50 bet on if I'm wearing them now. If I had an editor, I would ask them to throw up a poll about it. But yeah, Flex says Clark is depressed because there aren't any phone booths around anymore. Rhaegar says Superman is depressed in that picture because Henry Cavill isn't playing him, and that's also the audience's issue. And you guys are like, you're right, Rhaegar. I'm not going to lie and say that a lot of the people's issue with the Superman casting is that it's not Cavill, or with the Superman image is that it's not Cavill. I personally, I love Cavill. I think he's the perfect Superman. Like, I am one of those Cavill fanboys. However, you know, I understand the industry. It sucks. I don't agree with any of the decisions that happened. But if we're looking at like the cards we have, you know, what we've been dealt, I think Corenswet is a good casting. I think he's an attractive man. He, you know, he fills out the part. That's another thing I kind of hate about the suit is that it's loose on him. You can sort of see it right there on his neck, and it's just like, to me, super, like, he's filled out. Corenswet's huge. I've seen pictures of him like on Instagram. He could fill out a suit like Brandon Routh did, and it's just like, too bad. Like, it's just, a lot of this isn't selling it, and it's just like, I would have, if I were on Gunn's team, I would have probably recommended something a little more bold and a little more heroic as my first look at this Superman, rather than a James Gunn style, like, that again, like, type of Superman. And that's sort of where I'm coming from, even if I am being a drama queen. Yeah, exactly, Shinkai. It's like Superman has a 9-to-5 job. That's exactly what it is. Shinkai, okay, first of all, Shinkai says one day he will do the mute on purpose. I did mute that time on purpose because I had to stand up and go yell at my dogs, and you could hear them barking. That time I forgot to unmute myself, right? So, yeah, let's see. I mean, we basically hit all the main topics. So before we go, and, you know, I'm going to take, this is a topic that I don't know a lot of you are really going to care about, but it's one I just really want to, like, briefly touch upon because I have been loving it. Obviously, you guys can see our stream buddy tonight. If you're unfamiliar, this is the album art for Kendrick Lamar's latest single, Not Like Us. If you haven't been on the internet for this past week, long story short, the rapper Drake and Kendrick Lamar are currently in a rap battle beef where they're releasing diss tracks at each other and, you know, back and forth, back and forth. I'm not going to go into like all of the drama because it is a very lengthy saga that is probably better explained by like an actual hip hop specific channel. But I, as just like an observer here, listening to everything, it is wild because, one, you know, my overall take is I hate Drake. I've always hated Drake. I think he sucks hard ass. Like his music sucks. His flow sucks. His persona sucks. Like everything about him is just shitty. He just seems like such a soft crybaby bitch boy. And I just can't deal with any of his crap. He also feels really like forced, like a forced rap star rather than somebody who actually like came up because, you know, he's from Canada and he was on Nickelodeon. He was on Degrassi. And now you're trying to tell me like you're a hard rapper. Like I'm not buying it. Like get the hell out of my face. But I am a massive Kendrick Lamar fan. Like I've been a Kendrick fan since his Untitled 80 mixtape. Like I love that man. So even my fanboyism aside, just the songs alone, like they're incredible. Like Kendrick's songs are great. Drake's songs are fine. But when it comes to the meat of what's going on, it is absolutely insane. Like the lyric work there are like 900 memes. I recommend like going on Twitter and just like scrolling memes because Kendrick Lamar is like bodying this man. You know what? I have a perfect way to communicate this to you guys. So like I have been laughing about this shit since it happened. Like my nights have been ending with me going, okay, let me check out how much or like let me go check Twitter. Let me see what the latest news on Twitter is. And all of my like recommended posts and all the posts that are retweeted into my feed are just all Kendrick stuff. And I'm just like so incredible, like it, and or Kendrick Drake stuff, and it all makes me laugh. Like Drake, like it started out as like a regular rap battle, and then like Drake or Kendrick straight up came out and called like he's on the bent where he's like, Drake, you're just a pedophile. And it's like, if you guys know anything about Drake, he is pretty fucking skeevy. Like he talks with underage fans and he invites them up on stage and like says really suggestive things to them. And I mean, he had like a friendship with Millie Bobby Brown when he was like 28 and she was like 15. They would like text all the time. It's weird stuff, right? And Kendrick is just coming out being like, fuck it. Like it's no holds barred. Like essentially like the Drake lyrics are like, haha, you're goofy, you're small, you're short. And Kendrick's coming out like, I will murder you, your family. I know where your bloodline starts and I will go back in time and I will extinguish it. And it's just like, it is absolutely insane. So, Perfect. This is my favorite. As the tweet says, this is my favorite take on the Kendrick Drake beef situation.
Mercy kill this old man. Derek is very rude person. But soon he will learn manners.
So that's Kendrick, obviously.
So that his soul learns to be humble. I'm gonna dance around him while he tried to hit me with his cane. Oh man. God chose me for this fight. God is the teacher. Derek is the student, and I am God's instrument. When I squeeze your lungs, Derek, and you beg me for life, then your heart will open up to the Lord. I'm gonna knock him out round one, bitch. Wait. What did he say again? He said God chose him. That doesn't even make sense, really. When you eat through plastic tube, when you are paralyzed from neck down.
Like, I think about this all day, and it just makes me laugh so hard because it's so accurate.
Hospital bed to see the new Derek.
What is this? Duck says Drake won? Are you fucking kidding me? There is no way Drake won. And Drake didn't win for one simple reason. Drake self-owned himself in, okay. Kendrick puts out which one is it? I think it's Euphoria, or it's Meet the Grams. And he straight up accuses, Kendrick of being a pedophile. Or he accuses Drake of being a pedophile. In Drake's next song, Drake brings up I never did anything with Millie Bobby Brown. You're so weird about that. And it's like, dude, nobody brought that up. You chose to bring her name into the situation. You just fucking self-told on yourself really, really hard. It is so funny watching him trip over and think he's so hard when in reality he is just completely self-owning after self-own after self-own after self-own. Duck also asked what are some of the lines I like. I mean, obviously I like the it was in my promo tweet on Twitter, and I mean I'm talking about it right now, the certified lover boy, certified pedophile, what fucking kill him, dot. I love that entire part. The part in Euphoria, which is, it's an opening line, but it's just so simple, where he's like, you don't tell lies about me, I won't tell truths about you. Then there is that hard ass line when he's in Meet the Grams, where he's like, what does he say? He's like, fuck a rap beef, I think he should die. Like people like him and Epstein should get fucked up in a cell and they should cry. It's crazy. My what is it? My journey listening to them is Euphoria. Ooh, damn. And then 616 in LA is oh shit. And then we get to Meet the Grams and it's fuck. Damn, he's going hard. Then we hit Not Like Us, which is that single cover I have right here, and I'm just I have no words. I'm just man's is dead. Call it. Call it. You have to call it. It's insane. There's no way Drake comes back from this. I mean, it's been days since he did actually drop a song, and it's awful. So, The Heart Part 6, and now it's on Kendrick. So hopefully that's the next one dropping, and I genuinely cannot wait for that. It's going to be so good. Let's see. Yeah, K. Dot, fuck the big three. It's just a big meat. Dude, it's just a big D, and there's video proof. K goes so absolutely hard. I could literally just sit here and go that line is a baller. That line's a banger. That line's a banger. At the end of Meet the Grams, when he's talking to his Drake's son and daughter, and he's you don't know who your father is, but I do, and I'm writing this song for you. And if you want to know what I mean, just play the song when you're 18. And it's just damn, he's going absolutely insanely hard. And if you for a extra bit of info, apparently there's somebody in Drake's camp who is leaking info to Kendrick. So Kendrick gets early snippets of the diss tracks as they're being recorded. The cover art for let's see, it was in here. I'm just gonna pull it up. Yeah, right here. So this is the Meet the Grams cover art. That's stuff that is a somebody stole Drake's dad's luggage and got it to Kendrick, and that's all stuff from that luggage. And it's just like, this is insane levels of rap feuding. And I am like, at the end of the day, it's a rap feud. They're gonna feud, blah blah blah. Somebody will win, whatever. I'm just here for the entertainment. Like, these videos are some of the funniest things I've encountered in a long time. Where's this other one? This other one makes me laugh. Like, here we go. Like, here, this basically is the perfect summation.
Turn this up, yo.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Everything's loud. Everything's loud. Gotta turn it down.
Oh.
Like, this is the reactions of people listening to, like, the first track and then, like, the later tracks.
Oh my God.
Turn this up, yo.
Turn me up, Kendrick.
Baby King, fuck you mean I am here.
The meme, sure. He's finally responding.
Like, see, everybody's, like, hyped. Everybody's stoked on it. Right here. Like, everybody's just like, damn. Like, it's so, I'm just here for these videos. It is insane. And honestly, if more call outs of alleged pedophilia, right? Like, this is the kind of stuff we want to see excised from the industry. So Kendrick finally coming out and being like, hey, you have people in your crew who are like that. The industry keeps protecting people like that. You're one of the people like that. Like, it's an overall, like, it is just a crazy swing. And I'm just really here. Like, it's super entertaining to me. And then, yeah, I saw that picture, Duck, of J. Cole on the beach. Like, J. Cole tapped out of this battle early. He's like, nope, I'm out. There was a meme I saw going around where it was quoting somebody, but it's like, how do I know not to get my shit kicked in a fight? By not picking a fight with somebody who can kick in my shit. And that, like, and they applied it to J. Cole, and I'm just like, it's so good. Like, it's so funny. Let's see. Half your age plus 7 is legal. No, not if you go under 18, Duck. All right, not if you go over 18, Duck. We're not doing that. Let's see. Yeah, Volume Dealer says, I wish metal musicians would talk shit about Ghost and Linkin Fart instead of embracing those cringe bands. Here's the problem, Volume. When metal musicians beef and they start doing that, it goes into, like, murder, and it goes into, like, church burning. Like, oh my gosh. Vars Vikernes and all of the, like, Swedish metal bands over there in the, like, early 2000s when they got into that. Like, Euronymous getting killed. Like, maybe the metal bands need to just keep their fighting on their album covers, right? Let's see. Yeah, Eccentric says, I haven't jammed Drake since his first album. I mean, I listened to it, and then I personally have this, like, detector for, like, corporate fakery and just, like, when things feel really slimy and like forced, and that's sort of like what Drake always felt like to me. So, like, things like, you know, Ironheart's character in Marvel Comics, things like the fact that everybody loves new Lara Croft, right? Like, those are things where I'm like, it feels so forced that you're pushing this, and because of that feeling, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, I am out. And that's what I've always felt about Drake. And then, yeah, Rhaegar says, now this is what Jordan Peele is best at, talking about the last video we were looking at. Enough with the whack horror movies. Honestly, my take on Jordan Peele is that I think his horror movies have a lot of good, like, concepts and imagery. Like, I think Us, the Clone movie, there are a lot of good, like, creepy shots. But all the narratives and all the, like, overall messaging that he tries to put into his movie often falls very, 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 very flat. I think the only time it really successfully worked was Nope. And that's because, you know, making fun of, like, the ultra hyper, like, white liberal. Like, that, I think it worked there. And then everything else is just too on the dot, or, like, it's too heavy-handed to... Yeah, on the dot for me to really get behind. But, you know, I like seeing the alien in Nope. I like seeing the kid with the mask in Us. So, but I'm there. Like, I would love to see him do some sort of, like, comedy feature. We haven't gotten that in a long time, and we know that the industry is starved for that. Like, absolutely starved for that. Let's see. Duck says, Yeah, go listen to the latest Drake song. Drake is feeding K-Dot's lies to his song. They are only hype on it because they haven't heard their rapper in 12 years, so anything he say would be hype on. Kendrick opened his mouth, somebody hands him a Grammy. Like, I know that there's the whole, like, daughter situation. I don't know where that stands right now. Like, but again, this was a take I had with a friend the other day where it's like, even if, you know, Drake is purposefully baiting Kendrick and trying to get him to just look like a fool by talking about false info, specifically like related to his daughter, like, because apparently Drake has a secret daughter floating around somewhere, but some people are saying that was a ruse specifically to make Kendrick look stupid. And like, my takeaway from this is like, one, if that's true, that's not an own. That's just like, okay, so you were lying and he went off of that info. What did you like? What are we doing here? I don't. You specifically intentionally lied about it. What was he supposed to do with it? And then he still keeps self-owning himself with like the pedophilia stuff. I can't get over it. Drake, like, no, dude, like certified lover boy, certified pedophile. Like, it's crazy. Like, again, we have to see how this all plays out. There's no legal work or anything. I'm genuinely just talking like anecdotally and colloquially, but I am so absolutely here for these tracks. Not like us. I spin it like all the time. I've just been spinning all 4 of Kendrick's songs on like a playlist, like on loop as the week has been going on. So, yeah, I'm here for it. I really want more. I'm going to keep laughing about all these memes. I'm sure you will see them duck because I think you follow the account where I'm resharing them too. But yeah, I just wanted to touch upon it. Obviously, I made it my stream buddy, so I figured I owed you guys a little deep dive into it. But yeah, this is a fun moment to be on the internet. Let's put it that way. Rhaegar asks, have any of you guys ever watched the Beef documentary series? I haven't. It's on my list. I haven't gotten around to it. I've heard it is good. Have you watched it, Rhaegar? What are your thoughts on like? Hit us with it. And then let's see. Yeah, Rhaegar says, I remember J. Cole when he used to post his songs in the cannabis forums chats back in the 2000s. He came a long way. He definitely has come a long way. Like, I like J. Cole. I got nothing against the man. I think he was smart by bowing out of the rap battle or out of the feud, because on one hand, like, he had nothing to gain there. He had nothing to gain by going into the rap battle. He's like, I'm gonna stay in my own lane. I'm gonna be fine. There was a fan, I guess there was so the other day, a fan saw him on the beach, and J. Cole was like on the beach chilling with like his laptop and just like headphones and like working or whatever. And the fan came over and was like, can I have a picture? And he's like, yeah, let's take a picture. And in the picture, it's like J. Cole is sitting like hands to himself, and the fan is like sitting right next to him, like her hands like completely where you can see him. And somebody was like, see, Drake, this is how you take a photo with an underage fan. And I'm just like, dude, J. Cole, like, keep your head down and you'll be the biggest winner in this. Let's see. Yeah, Rhaegar says, I'll give you that. Peel has good concepts, but nope, I was more interested in the story of the monkey that went crazy. Yeah, exactly. Like, interesting concepts and bits around there, but his overall thing is just like just not, what's the word? Like, it fails to hit. It fails to stick the landing. And then, yes, Rhaegar, thank you. I was trying to look for a video game example, and yeah, Forced like Last of Us 2. That's perfect. Thank you. That's literally what I was trying to hit. And then, yeah, Ravul says, Varg Vikernes has a tour shirt for Burzum, coming to a church near you. Back of the shirt was a map of Norway with locations of burnt churches. That was old school Varg, man. That was when Varg went hard. Now Varg just sits on Twitter all day, like, ranting about Lord of the Rings. It's quite a character evolution, if you will. Oh yeah, and then Volume Dealer asks, what are the tabs on the building? So the cover art, this is a Google Map shot of Drake's house in LA. And those tabs, so in the US, we have the sex offender registry, and the database is open and searchable for anyone. If you go on, you can go put in your name, like any address, and it'll pop up different tabs of like it'll put little pins on where sex offenders are living. And there are like different colors for their offenses, and red is crimes against the child. So what Kendrick is saying with this cover art is that Drake has been assaulting and like sleeping with a bunch of underage people inside of his, like, you know, in his house, in his general goings-ons. Honestly, like, if you want a more direct sort of accusation, obviously go listen to all of the tracks. Kendrick pretty much lays it out. If you need more explanation, obviously go to Genius, because the users over at Genius are just like on top of it as it's developing. But yeah, guys, you will just, I guess to close it off, fair warning for the next like week or two, if you see me on a stream, if you see me on Twitter, you're probably gonna hear me drop some reference to the tracks, because I literally just cannot stop I cannot stop listening to them, following the memes. It's just this is my current like entertainment obsession, so you're all gonna have to deal with it for a little while. But with that, guys, I think we have already gone a little bit longer than we normally do, so I think with that, we should call it a night. Let's get out of here. Let's get you guys enjoying your weekend. Go play something fun. Go read something fun. Go create something original. Go hang out with some people you like. Go do things that are enjoyable. Put the internet drama behind you for just a couple days. Unless that drama is the Kendrick Drake beef, in which case you should be taking that with you everywhere and bumping it on the street and just letting Drake know that he lost. But with that, guys, I want to thank absolutely every single one of you for stopping by. As I said at the top, this show, I host it to, get you guys to kick your weekends off right, give you a good a place to come hang out, have a chat about all the things we love in, more ways than just going, oh, this sucks, oh, this is woke. So if you guys were here, I'm glad you're here. I wouldn't be able to do this show without you. So I look forward to Friday nights every week, and I'm glad you guys do too. Obviously, I will be back next week for another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly. Same Mav time, same Mav channel. As always, no idea what we're going to be talking about. Given the nature of the show, we talk about whatever news pops up in the week, so hopefully something good, more than likely something awful. Until then, let's see. What else do I have going on? Oh, yeah. As always, if you want to find me on Twitter, you can go right there at Kabuto Writer Mav, where I'm mostly just retweeting Drake Kendrick stuff and anime artwork from various artists. But if you want, check me out there. Everybody who stopped by, you're all the best, from Rhaegar to Duck to Volume to Dante to Corey to Andrew to Zero to S to to Bruce at the very beginning. I know you were around. I don't know if you're around anymore, buddy, but it was awesome having you. And of course, everybody in watching the VOD or watching in silence in the back, you're the best. I couldn't do this without you. You guys, you're just, I can't thank you enough for all the support you guys give me, checking out the show, checking out Bounding Into Comics, all that fun stuff. All right. Yeah, before we get out of here, as always, I have your last call for last minute news. Now, I was going to sign off this week's episode with a Superman clip, and it was going to be the Superman Darkseid fight from Justice League, where he talks about, oh, and Shinkai! Holy shit, I knew Shinkai. I literally felt like my mouth fell off. I was like, I am forgetting a name. There's somebody I am forgetting. And I was like, no, I hit Ravul, I hit Corey, I hit Volume. Like, who am I missing? It was you. So yes, special shout out to Shinkai. That is my dog. So sorry I forgot you. I'm going to do better, Senator. I'm going to do better next time. But yeah, like I was saying, the original last minute call for last minute news this week was going to be the Justice League clip of Superman fighting Darkseid. However, at the very last second, I realized that with this week, I have an opportunity to share what I would consider probably top 3 Simpsons jokes with all of you. It's a slight bit of a longer clip, but I think it is like absolutely hilarious. I get a kick out of it every time. It is relevant to a certain movie that released this week, and well, you know what? I'll just let the great actor Troy McClure himself take it away.
Help, the human's about to escape.
Get your paws off me, you dirty ape!
He can talk.
He can talk, 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 he can talk.
I can sing!
Ooh, help me, Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Oh, Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
What's wrong with me?
I think you're crazy.
Want a second opinion?
You're also lazy.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Oh, Dr. Zayas.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
Can I play the piano anymore?
Of course you can.
Well, I couldn't before.
This play has everything.
Oh, I love legitimate theater.
I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee. No, you'll never make a monkey out of me. Oh my God, I was wrong. It was Earth all along. You finally made a monkey.
Yes, we finally made a monkey.
Yes, you finally made a monkey out of me. I love you, Dr. Zayas.
Damn it, I muted myself again. I keep doing this. I'm so stupid. Thank you, S. But yes, thank you guys for indulging me in my favorite Simpsons bit. That song is like on replay on my head all the time. It's probably another one of my idle noise musics. So, yeah, take it easy, everyone. Have a great weekend. And before you go, I have one last message for you all. What, you know, as you start your days this weekend on Saturday morning, Sunday morning, and even as you go into the week, you know, if you're looking for that extra kick of energy, the way to start your mornings off right, make sure you get your Dragon Ball Reese's Puffs. You know, this is absolutely part of a balanced breakfast. Comes in collectible style with a bunch of different characters on the back. Oh gosh, Piccolo's going see-through because of my because he's green and it's a green screen. But luckily, the coloring works out. But yeah, go grab yourself some Reese's Puff. I saw this on the shelf and I I almost like bought the entire stock because this is incredible. But yeah, just wanted to show off. This is Dragon Ball is everywhere. It's incredible. But yeah, everybody, have a great weekend. Take it easy, and I will see you absolutely very soon.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Ted, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him like burned and we'll
I don't
execute
even
him
know
and
who
burned.
that guy is.